Ms. Anna Payne claims that after spending years searching for her father, she has brought the defendant, Mr. Yates, to the courtroom to prove once and for all that he is her biological father. Mr. Yates claims that he was blindsided by allegations that Ms. Anna Payne is not his daughter. Their case starts off like this.
Ms. Anna Payne, after years of searching for your father, you have brought the defendant, Mr. Yates, to court today to prove once and for all that he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ha ha. I don't think any kid is going to hear their mother say something like that and they won't be confused. That's a heavy truth bomb to drop on a child at a very young age. Well, at least mother told her the truth from the onset, so that's something.
You said you knew absolutely nothing until 4 years ago.
Your Honor, I have here a summons for child support dated 4 years ago.
Let me see that evidence. Jerome, will you hand that to me? So you're saying you received a summons?
Your Honor, I was at work and Mobile County Sheriff's Department showed up at my job calling me to the side to talk about the summons, telling me I had to appear in court.
Wow, I'm sure that was not an easy conversation with his wife. Mr. Yates says that he had no idea that Ms. Anna Payne existed up until 4 years ago when he was summoned to pay child support. He even goes further to say that he hasn't thought about Ms. Anna Payne's mother in almost 20 years.
Oh, Ms. Payne, I want to ask you, because I see you shaking your head. This isn't true?
No, ma'am, it's not.
Tell me what your account of this is.
He drove us down to the place where I found out I was pregnant, and he was in there with me when I found out.
Oh, so you went to a clinic, a facility to find out if you were pregnant, and you say he went there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like someone isn't telling the truth. Ms. Anna Payne's mother told the judge that Mr. Yates knew about the pregnancy and even drove her to the clinic when they had ultrasounds. Mr. Yates, on the other hand, says that he has 5 children and he remembers all their visits to the hospital.
I had another one on the way. I didn't need to be raising a third one because all he did was whine and cry about what he couldn't get and what his parents didn't do for him. I made a decision to end the relationship.
Oh, you did? So
Yes,
you broke things off?
Yes, ma'am.
Honestly, that's pretty fair. Ms. Anna Payne's mother says that she always knew that Mr. Yates was the father of her child. She tried to track him down when the baby was born, but he disappeared. She also admits that she reached out to his mother a few times over the years.
When I got the summons 4 years ago, I requested a DNA test.
You did. Let me see that, Jerome. So as soon as you heard of this, you did not do like some men in this courtroom do and ignore
the responsibilities. I wanted proof.
That's weird. Mr. Yates submits evidence that shows that he requested a DNA test when he found out about Ms. Anna Payne. What's surprising is that after he took his DNA test and went back to court, he was told that there was not going to be a DNA test.
Do you remember this action, Ms. Payne?
I remember getting the notice, but I don't remember if we didn't have a way or forgot about it or what happened while we didn't make it.
So you do remember it, that it was supposed to happen, but you can't remember why you didn't make it.
Right.
Somehow, that sounds like a lie. Ms. Anna Payne's mother admits that she was aware about the DNA test and was in fact summoned to appear. But she then says that she either forgot to go or couldn't find a way to get to the court. Sounds like a fishy excuse for real.
Maybe I should go look for her, or was it in the back of your mind somewhere?
Not until about 9 months ago. I made some changes on my Facebook account. I got about 50 messages all at one time, and it turned out she had been trying to contact me for 2 years, but I wasn't getting any of the messages until I made that adjustment to the notifications.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. That explains why she said in the very beginning that she spent years trying to look for her father. Apparently, Miss Anna Payne sent multiple messages to Mr. Yates on Facebook, but he had a setting that allowed him to receive messages from only friends, so that prevented him from getting all her messages.
So, Mr. Yates, when you saw all of the messages, did you read through them, or did you just say you saw all the messages from one person and just wrote back, who is this?
I didn't get a chance to read all of them right off the bat. At first, I saw a couple of the messages, and I decided to take a break at work to step outside to call her so that we could talk and see.
Wow, I can't believe he actually said something like that. It seems like he actually didn't want to accept the fact that Ms. Anna Payne could be his daughter. There's no way she tells him things about his family, and he replies that she can find them on the internet.
What are the other reasons why you doubt Miss Payne is your biological child?
Me and Miss Payne were only together for a few weeks, only had sex a handful of times.
Well, you know it only takes once. You have other children,
sex
so
clearly leads to children.
And you
kind of living proof.
You do admit that it was unprotected? Do you admit that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, That cancels that. Mr. Yates says he has no idea if Ms. Anna Payne's mother was sleeping with other men. His other reason for doubting he is the father is because they only slept with each other for a few weeks. Well, it does take once to make a baby. Let's see what the results have to say about this case.
Mr. Payne, you are her father. This is special.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I want you to understand you are such an example to so many young people here who are still looking for their fathers. You, my dear, are an example of what you do when you just continue to step out on faith.
Ms. Harris claims that her 15-year-old on-and-off relationship with the defendant, Mr. Sterling, has produced a baby that he does not want to help raise. She wants to prove that he is the father, and she needs him to step up and be a man. Mr. Sterling has an entirely different story to tell. Their case begins like this.
Ms. Harris, you claim that your 15-year on and off relationship with Mr. Sterling has produced a baby that he is trying to get out of helping raise. You are here to prove paternity and force him to step up. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Well, Ms. Harris clearly means business, and she's not here to fool around. She really wants Mr. Sterling to step up, but the thing is, Mr. Sterling does not believe that he is the father of the child. He says that he is not ready to raise another man's child.
First of all, that's not my baby, and I'm going off of what Charity is telling me.
First of all,
what did she tell
It
you?
is his baby, and he knows it's his baby.
That is not the truth.
What
It
did
is
she
his
tell you?
baby.
She tells me when we get to arguing, this is not your baby. And
Yeah,
you need,
because he get on my nerves, and I don't want him to be in my life.
Ha ha ha. Maybe she is right, but she is the one with his baby. Mr. Sterling says that everything they argue, she always tells him he is not the father, and the moment they are back on good terms, the story changes.
He wasn't doing nothing before the bell got rung about him not being the
So
father.
you're saying
Yana.
even before you said this, he was not stepping up to the plate.
And he was cheating the whole time I was pregnant. He
that's
was
a
cheating.
negative.
Shots are definitely being fired in the courtroom. Ms. Harris tells the judge that while she was pregnant, Mr. Sterling was cheating on her. And even before she ever told him he was not the father out of anger, he still wasn't doing anything for the baby.
So now the first date on this calendar says the doctor's appointment was on March 21st. And the doctor says that Ms. Harris is 6 to 8 weeks pregnant. And you had sex on Valentine's Day. So now, if we count back 6 to 8 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
Mr. Sterling might be onto something right there. Apparently, he says that the time the baby was conceived doesn't add up. And when he submits the calendar showing the dates, even Judge Lauren seems to notice that it actually doesn't add up.
What I asked him was, what is your doubt based on? Why are you so distant from this baby? Why don't you believe this baby is yours?
Well-
And he's trying to say to me, these are my reasons. Number one, she told me I wasn't. Number two, when I did the calculation, this is what I came up with. This is his evidence he submitted to the court.
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple. I don't know why Ms. Harris is acting like she did not tell him that he was not the father of the child. If we're being honest, there's no man on earth you'll tell that to, and he isn't going to have doubts. Ms. Harris needs to take a chill pill.
And now, Mr. Sterling,
This ain't
Yes,
fair.
ma'am.
please tell me if there is any other reason why you doubt Kaysen is your biological child.
When she was 8 months pregnant, she told me that it was another guy who could be the baby's father.
That would honestly be my reaction if I were to be in his shoes. Seems like Ms. Harris likes to say a lot of things when she is angry. She told Mr. Sterling during one of their arguments that another man was the father of the child and she didn't care if he stayed or left.
So, Miss Harris, did you have sex with another man 2 weeks before you had sex with Mr. Sterling?
It wasn't
on the
2 weeks.
14th?
It was
True.
like 3 weeks. It was like not even 3 weeks.
Finally, Mr. Harris says something that makes sense in the courtroom. She confesses that she actually slept with another man 2 weeks before she slept with Mr. Sterling. How sure is she that Mr. Sterling is even the father of the child?
That's the reason we here today. And
Exactly, because you a liar. You need to step up pretty
listen,
much.
I don't want to take care of another man's child.
You won't take take care of the children.
Yes, I
that's
do.
yours.
Yes, I do. I love him. I love that little boy, and you know that.
It's very surprising that these two were even able to sleep together in the same room. Look at them arguing like kids in high school. Jeez. Oh well. Ms. Harris says that she believes Mr. Sterling is the father because she used protection when she slept with the other man.
Well, Your Honor, I just want to say, with all the doubt that he has, first of all, he was there with all my doctor visits.
Yes.
He was there when I delivered my baby.
Yes.
Along with flirting and cheating on me throughout my whole pregnancy. He was at the hospital flirting with nurses.
That actually makes sense. Ms. Harris explains that Mr. Sterling was there for everything, from doctor's appointments to even cutting the umbilical cord. If he did all of this, why does he then say he doesn't believe he is the father? He even signed the birth certificate.
Thing about it, Your Honor, like at the 8 months when we got into it over the argument, I thought it was just because she might have been mad. Maybe she did just say this out of the side of her.
You knew you cheated, you lied, and you wrong.
Whatever. So maybe she did say this out of just spite. You know what I'm saying?
Man, these two are just hilarious. Judge Lauren can't even contain her laughter. Well, Mr. Sterling signed the birth certificate because at some point he actually believed he was the father. Oh well, the results are in. Let's put this case to rest once and for all.
Mr. Sterling, you are the father.
Exactly. So what you got to say now,
You
baby?
are his father.
All this, next. See, you know, we got to leave here. You know that, right? Why
You know what, Miss Harris? There are men that don't come see their children because they don't want to deal with a woman that acts like you.
Ms. Booker says that her childhood was full of bullying and pain, and now the only man she ever knew to be her father is denying paternity. She's with her mother in the courtroom to prove that the defendant, Mr. Booker, actually is her father. Well, here is how their dramatic case starts in the courtroom.
Ms. Booker, you say your childhood was full of bullying and pain. Now the only man you have ever known as your dad is denying paternity. You and your mother opened your case to prove to the defendant that he is your father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty harsh thing to say. Ms. Booker claims that her father always told her that he would take her off his will even before he had doubts. She says that the only reason he is denying her is because of money. Looks like they are on the same page as far as that is concerned.
Part of it is, yes.
It is?
Yes.
And do you also agree that she's 34 years old and you know that it was her understanding that you're her biological father?
Your Honor, I raised Lorraine and my other daughter, Rashida, mainly by myself the last part of their lives. Miss Gant was nowhere in the picture.
Well, clearly, Mr. Booker does not play about his money. He says that he needs to know if Ms. Booker is his daughter, and if it happens that she's not, he wants her off the will so he can make room for his other daughters, who he is certain are his.
We had a relationship. We lived together. I came home from work one day during the lunch break. I saw a guy come out of my apartment building.
That's not true.
Running, fastening his pants up. I get upstairs. I say to Miss Gant, I said, who was that came out of our apartment? She says, oh, that was from the lady from next door. And
aha, I knew there had to be more to the story, and it's starting to make sense. Mr. Booker explains that one night when they were drunk and got into an argument, Ms. Gant, Ms. Booker's mother, told him that he was not the dad. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that he said he caught her cheating too.
And I want to know if you ever were told Mr. Booker was not your biological father.
When I was in high school, I was pregnant. I got pregnant at 16. I didn't know how to tell him that. He told me and my sister Rashida that if we was to ever get pregnant that we was grown and we would have to move out.
Damn. Oh, Ms. Gant is very upset, and she is not hiding her anger at all. Her daughter, Ms. Booker, tells the judge that Mr. Booker always treated her differently than the way he treated his other kids, and that is what is making her mother upset.
You only believe Mr. Booker was your biological father, and yet you were informed by him that your other sister was his favorite.
Yes, ma'am.
Somehow, I doubt what Mr. Booker is saying. He admits that his first daughter is actually his favorite daughter, but also says that he also loved Ms. Booker the way he loved his first daughter. If that's the case, why then does she feel like he didn't treat her the same way?
During that time frame in your relationship, were you, Ms. Gant, having sexual relations with any other man during the window of conception?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I was always working and busy.
Phew, what a dramatic case. Ms. Gant says that she never slept with anyone while they were together, and it's absurd that he has doubts about paternity. Though she admits that she did tell him during their argument that he was not the father, she says that she did it because she was trying to push his buttons.
But it's true. Every parent has a favorite. That does not mean.
Listen. Every parent doesn't have a favorite.
Every parent.
Now, no, every parent doesn't have a favorite. Every parent does not have a favorite.
Oh, come on, Mr. Booker. How on earth could he have known? It's something he said, and now his other daughters used it as a weapon when they had sibling fights with Ms. Booker. Like Judge Lauren said, no parent should have a favorite child.
I make the following specific gift. I leave all jewelry, family photos, and a BMW vehicle to Rashida A. Booker. I leave a Chevrolet pickup truck to Rashida Booker and Lorraine Booker. Wiley.
Don't get nuts.
So wait, you leave the BMW to Rashida, and then Rashida and Lorraine have to share the pickup truck?
It'd be a terrible fight.
Wow, honestly, that is just evil from Mr. Booker. Even if this case gets resolved and Ms. Booked turns out to be his daughter, they are going to be fighting about everything. At this point, I think we need to see the DNA results.
Mr. Booker, you are the father.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I love you. Come here to me.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Charles.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Short is here with her mother because her first love, the defendant, denies that he fathered her 21-month-old baby. She needs help taking care of the baby, and she wants the defendant to step up and play his part. Mr. Johnson, the defendant, however, has a totally different story to tell the judge.
Ms. Short, you and your mother opened your case today because your first love, the defendant, denies he fathered your 21-month-old son, Jabari. You are a single teenage mother who needs help, and you demand Mr. Johnson step up and be a father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Men, that's actually so sad. Ms. Short is still in school and it's difficult for her to take care of the baby while she's a student. Believe me, that can't be easy. I wonder how she got into such a situation.
How did you meet?
Well, it was over Facebook and we used to text. He was my first kiss. First everything.
Okay, so after you met, you all started having sex, and at some point, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes.
This is why they tell kids to stay away from adult activities. I think we know why now. Ms. Short says that Mr. Johnson was her first everything. It broke her heart when he told her he wanted to be with another woman. Her reaction to that was to sleep with another guy.
At what point did you realize Ms. Short was even pregnant?
See, Your Honor, I was away. I found out she was pregnant 6 months into her pregnancy.
Okay. And were you informed that you were the biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the truth is starting to pop out. Mr. Johnson says that he found out about the baby when she was already 6 months pregnant. His doubts originated from Ms. Short's friends telling him that the other guy could be the potential father of her child.
Your Honor, it was an ex-friend. I thought she was my friend. She was like, because I was like, it was a possibility. So I was like, I'm scared to let the moms know. She was like, you need to let them know so it won't be any confusions when the baby get here.
At least she's been able to clear the doubt. She explains that the friend Mr. Johnson is talking about is no longer her friend because she thought she could confide in her. And sadly, she went to give Mr. Johnson the wrong information.
All right, I want to hear from you, Miss Mabry, because you remember having this conversation with Miss Short?
Yes, ma'am.
You did, and you said to her, if you need anything, just let me know.
Yes, and it also went further into a blood test. They wanted me to do a blood test because this other dude saying he wanted to know if DeMaze was the father, if DeMaze's not the father.
Mr. Johnson and his mother have a point, though. They express their anger and say that there were several times that they wanted to build a bond with the baby, but Ms. Short and her parents would not allow them to do that. There's already the doubt, so not allowing them to see the baby is just raising so many questions.
Mr. Johnson is the biological father of your child when you said you also had slept with another person as well.
I'm going by the dates. I had my due date was January 14th.
Okay.
I had him January 8th. I had sex with Mr. Johnson April 23rd. And May 3rd is just too close
That just makes the whole thing complicated. Honestly, Ms. Short slept with both Mr. Johnson and the other guy, but she says that she believes Mr. Johnson is the father of her baby because the proximity of the date she slept with Mr. Johnson is closer than when she did with the other guy.
So when the baby was born, Mr. Johnson, were you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I was finna, but I didn't have my ID at the time to sign the birth certificate.
And he wasn't gonna sign nothing until we found out the truth.
That host shows what type of man Mr. Johnson is. He tells the judge that if the child ends up being his, he is going to take care of the child. And that's why he wrote that letter to Ms. Short in the first place. Oh well, the results from the DNA test are in. Let's find out the truth, shall we?
Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
I'll be there for him.
Good. I'm glad you will.
This all I want to know to get all the other extra stuff out the way.
Mrs. Gamboa, in this case, cries out to the judge, saying that she is fed up with her husband always accusing her of sleeping with everyone. She says he even accused her of sleeping with their babysitter. Well, here is how she began her case.
Mrs. Gamboa, you say you're fed up with your husband.
She hopes to prove to the court and Mr. Callender that the babe belongs to him. Well, here's how it all begins.
Miss Polson, you summoned Mr. Callender to court in hopes of salvaging what is left of your relationship. You say he denies your daughter Zoe, but today you intend to prove paternity. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Apparently, Mr. Callender loves the child. He says he has built a bond with her that's almost inseparable, but he just can't seem to erase the fact that Ms. Polson has a pattern of sleeping with several men.
But Mr. Callender, you do question it.
Yes, ma'am. It's like a dark cloud hovering over us, keeping us, I think it's preventing us from moving forward. Just the uncertainty, not knowing 100% that I'm her father.
After hearing that, trust me, you can tell that these guys are holding on by a thread. They definitely love each other and their baby girl, but Mr. Callender just needs to be certain the baby belongs to him. I wonder how they got themselves into such a mess.
We went our separate ways, and we both got in long-term relationships, and my last long-term relationship, we were having hard times towards the end of it. It was about 9 years, and he hit me up on Facebook, Mr. Callender did. And we just started talking, rekindling our love again, and we started seeing each other again.
Ow! Is it just me, or are there some loopholes in that story? Apparently, Ms. Polson was in a relationship with someone else when she reunited her feelings for Mr. Callender. The crazy thing is, they were also kicking it in bed while she was still in a relationship. Sounds fishy, right?
Well, it was about a week after she had moved into her apartment after getting most of her things out of the residence.
A week?
But I was only having sexual contact with Mr. Callender. My ex were living in separate rooms. We had a lot of assets.
Remember when I said their story sounded fishy? Well, I guess you know why. Mr. Callender tells the judge that Ms. Polson told him she was pregnant a week after she had moved out of her previous partner's apartment. That definitely doesn't add up.
He shows up with soup and a teddy bear because she's sick, but how did he know that she was sick if they haven't been communicating?
Soup and a teddy bear?
He would bring me flowers to work and left a soup and a teddy bear.
Aha! Even Judge Lauren isn't buying her story. Mrs. Polson tells the court that she wasn't sleeping with her ex-partner. Now, if she wasn't sleeping with her ex-partner, how did he know she was sick? And why did he bring her soup and a teddy bear? Oh, she has a lot of explaining to do.
That his number was in there, and just out of curiosity, I clicked on it and it said they had conversations for 30 minutes, another one for an hour, and I asked her about it, what they had been talking about, and she said, he was wanting to know if she wanted to get a few more things from the residence that she had left behind.
Now the cat is out of the bag and it's about to blow up in her face. Ms. Polson never told Mr. Callender that her ex-partner brought her soup and a teddy bear when she was sick. It came up when they were having an argument. If I were in his shoes, I probably wouldn't believe a single thing she says after that.
And so, when she was born, did you sign her birth certificate?
They wouldn't allow me to. It was like a kick to the chest.
And so then your doubts started spinning.
Yes, and a week or two after that, she was in contact with her ex, and he made the question, could it be mine?
I mean, can you really blame him for having doubts? It told him she wasn't having sex with her ex-partner. Why in heaven's name would he then ask if the baby belongs to him? Man, Ms. Polzin sure knows how to keep secrets.
As you were getting the last few things out of your house, he had made the comment, you said that he would ask for one last shebang.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did.
But you declined?
No, of course I declined. I had been over that relationship for a very long time, and I had only been sexually active with Mr. Calendar.
With a look on her face, I'm sorry, but I do not believe a single word that's coming out of her mouth for real. There are so many loopholes with what she's saying, and she just doesn't seem like a truthful person.
I'm his mother.
You are his mother?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you know about the paternity surrounding baby Zoe? Do you believe your son is her biological father?
I hope and pray that he is. We have a very strong bond.
And I can see how emotional that makes you.
Yes, ma'am.
You can see it in her face. Mr. Calendar's mother wants the baby to be her son's child. She tells Judge Lauren that they've built a strong bond with the child, and she doesn't want that bond to break the child's heart.
So, Ms. Allen, do you believe this relationship can withstand the realization that Zoe is not your son's biological child?
I don't believe it would.
So you believe if she's not his, this relationship is over?
Yes, ma'am.
There's definitely a lot at stake for everyone in the courtroom. Is Mr. Calendar going to end up as the father of the child? I guess the DNA results are going to reveal the truth.
Mr. Calendar, you are the father. I told you. You are the father, and I'm so happy I could give you the result all of you so desperately wanted. And now we can figure out where to go from here.
I want his name put on the birth certificate.
Ma'am. Didn't I tell you?
You need to be respectful.
My son was outside playing. He came. He was at the front gate. So he was like, Janet, come here, Janet, come here. So I'm like, who's calling my son? He gave my son $1. 5 minutes after talking to me and my son, he took it back. What? Exactly.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. She got me confused with another dude because I never did that.
I don't like condoms, so I don't use condoms.
Exactly, and I want you to know this.
I'm allergic to latex, so I can use non-latex condoms.
Why do people keep saying they're allergic to latex but not allergic to sex?
This woman tried to trap me.
I mean, it's like sex at all.
Buckle up, because this case is already wild before it even starts. In Kidd versus Rawlings, Mr. Kidd claims Miss Rawlings convinced him he was her baby's father, only to swap him out for someone better.
You say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive are her son's father.
The testimonies begin, and it's a full-blown he said, she said showdown. Mr. Kidd says Miss Rawlings told him he was the father, even writing him letters while he was away.
When this first started off, she came to me and told me that he was mine. She was sending me letters when I was gone.
And so you were away when she found out she was pregnant?
I went away a month after she found out she was pregnant.
Did you tell him it was his child, Miss Rawlings?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Rawlings drops a bomb, admitting she was juggling 2 relationships during the time of conception, and honestly didn't know who the father was. She also says Mr. Kidd once claimed he was infertile.
We were in a serious relationship. I was actually at some point, once I left from being around Mr. Kidd, that I was actually staying with him.
So how often were you with Mr. Kidd and how often were you with the other guy?
Pretty much going back and forth because I was staying with him. I was leaving from being with Mr. Kidd to going with him and coming back to Mr. Kidd.
And here comes the science part, except it just makes things more confusing. Mr. Kidd's mom explains that he has a rare blood condition that could complicate pregnancy, but not make it impossible.
It's not a rare blood disease. I am ARH negative, and he is ARH negative. During the pregnancy, it could prevent her from having future children, or that child could pass away.
So, Mr. Kidd, did you ever tell Ms. Rawlings you didn't believe you could have children?
Yes, ma'am. I informed her of the situation because I typically, in a long-term relationship, I've never any kind of hiccup.
Enter Miss Jenkins, who is convinced the baby is her grandson. She insists the baby looks just like Mr. Kidd, even showing off pictures to prove her point.
It was approximately the mid of August of 2016.
And at that time, were you aware that your son was in a relationship with Ms. Rawlings?
No.
We've never been in a relationship.
Wasn't just a sexual relationship?
No, ma'am. She just needed somewhere to stay, so I was just looking out for her, and it just became a sexual encounter. encounter.
It was an encounter?
More than one.
Accusations start flying. Miss Rawlings is accused of leading both Mr. Kidd and his mom on. Meanwhile, the second possible father also swears the baby looks like him.
Me being me as a mother, and I wasn't able to grow up with my father. Mr. Kidd can't see the moments that he's missing. At least his mom will be able to have them, and his family has some stories to tell.
But as you stand here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we learn that Miss Rawlings once handed the baby over to Miss Jenkins temporarily for help. Miss Jenkins even had a handwritten custody note, but instead of clearing things up, it just makes everything way more confusing.
I got a handwritten letter of custody.
Because of the fact that I had got a job that was paying $10 an hour, and I didn't have anybody to watch him. At the same time, trying to figure out who's going to watch my child and me not. That since she was there, that my child.
At that specific time, you did not have a job yet.
I know, and
Now enter Dr. Gator. He explains that Mr. Kidd's infertility might not be as definite as he thought. Childhood infections could have affected his sperm, but not completely. Now everyone's on edge, just waiting for the DNA results.
There's two separate issues here. There was an issue about RH blood. That has to do with a mother and a baby, and if there's different blood types between the father of the baby, positive and negative. And so there are various childhood infections from mumps to STIs like gonorrhea and chlamydia. Those can cause inflammation in the testicles and makes it difficult for you to emit sperm.
The results are in and the tension is off the chart.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kidd, you are the father.
This whole thing kicks off with a bang. Judge Lake introduces Mr. Scott, who's here to dodge accusations from multiple women claiming he's their baby daddy. Mr. Scott admits to having 6 kids with 3 different women, but says no way is baby number 7 his with Miss Crane.
Scott, you say you are appearing in court today to clear your name. You state many women, including the defendant, have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children. You admit to having 6 kids by 3 different women, but state that the defendant is not mother number 4 with child number 7.
Mr. Scott doubts Jalen is his, pointing to shady phone calls and Miss Crane getting rides from random dudes. Miss Crane calls him insecure, while the judge questions whether they were ever a real couple. Then comes the twist.
When we were together, her cell phone will ring, she'll walk out the room. She'll leave her cell phone with her best friend. Or after we spend the night with each other, instead of me taking her home, she'll walk home and I'll just peep at her and look at her and see what she's doing. And she has other dudes picking her up on her. And she admitted it to me about other dudes picking her up. I don't need to put his name out.
Picking her up, insecurity, Your Honor. Insecurity, still grown man.
Miss Crane says she was 7 months pregnant when she finally found out Mr. Scott was married by snooping through his phone. She even called his wife, who told her to get an abortion, and then hung up.
Your Honor, I was 7 months pregnant. I didn't know where Marcel was. He used my phone one time. He deleted all his calls. So I went back on the internet, back to the research, called all the numbers he called, and found out he was married for 9 years.
That's true. I was married, but I've been divorced December 2009.
No, actually, he was at the woman's house, and he actually picked up the phone. So the lady was like, "Who is this calling from Marcel?" I said, "Well, I'm his baby mama, his girlfriend."
Tattoos, lies, and chaos take center stage. Miss Crane swears she had no clue about Mr. Scott's other kids, even though he's got their names tattooed on him. He also claims Miss Crane hid the baby's face during a run-in with his ex's family.
He lied about all of his kids. I didn't know he had no kids.
She lied because I got tattoos all over my body. I got all my kids' names on my neck, on my back.
That don't mean nothing. Your
Everywhere.
Honor, I didn't ask nothing about no tattoos.
She said it was your brother. But then come to find it's another dude that's holding the baby. Well, I don't know if she still has it, but what showed me recently that she had to cover it up, she has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 2.
No, Your Honor, I had 1, and that was my ex-boyfriend for 5.
Mr. Scott swears he didn't put those hickeys on Miss Crane. She fires back, saying it doesn't even matter because they weren't together. Then he claims she kept him from doctor visits, while she insists she had a reason.
And then while she's pregnant, she had hickeys on her neck. And I didn't give her them hickeys. You know what I mean? And when she was pregnant, she didn't even tell me she was pregnant. I said, well, let me take you to Kaiser Permanente High. She told me to go to the Kaiser Permanente in Lancaster, and she's at the Kaiser Permanente in Palmdale. I take care of all my kids.
And so you're trying to take her to the medical appointment.
Yeah, she wouldn't let me take her.
And she telling you she's at one branch, you at the other.
Now they're arguing over who did what for baby Jalen. Miss Crane says Mr. Scott is a part-time dad who shows up once a year. Mr. Scott blames her for keeping him away.
I got home from work. My son was outside playing. He came. He was at the front gate. So he was like, Jalen, come here. Jalen, come here. So I'm like, who's calling my son? He gave my son $1. 5 minutes after talking to me and my son, he took it back. What? Exactly.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. She got me confused with another dude because I never did that.
Man, oh my God.
the only time.
Now, Miss Crane and Miss Kahn are tag teaming against Mr. Scott, who's left scrambling to defend himself. And just like that, the DNA results are in.
He's my daughter's father too. My daughter's 4 months old.
So you claim you also have a child by him, and he's denying paternity?
He wants paternity, says I have it.
Yeah, she had no problem.
Nothing.
No, I communicate with her good. There's no problem with her.
When it comes to 3-year-old Jalen Crane, Mr. Scott, our father.
Wow, this story kicks off wild right from the start. Herman is in court to prove that Mr. Houston is the father of her son, Corey. But hold on. This tale is just getting started.
Ms. Herman, you are here to prove that Mr. Houston is the biological father of your 2-year-old son, Corey. You contend the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Ms. Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read.
Just when you think it can't get crazier, bam, Miss Herman drops the bomb that she found out Mr. Houston was married while she was already pregnant, with her detective skills in full gear.
I like to call this the investigadget stage. That's what I do. So during the time I was pregnant, I had told Mr. Houston that I was pregnant. He said that he would be there for me and my child. After 2 doctor's appointments, he stopped showing up. So I got a little suspicious. Got my investigation glasses on, and I found out via Facebook that he has a wife and children.
Mr. Houston really doubles down, saying he had no reason to tell her he was married. Like that little detail didn't matter. The judge is already over this eyebrow-raising nonsense. But trust me, there's way more drama coming.
Anything I got going on before I met her wasn't her business. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't curious about the extra stuff. I was more curious about getting to know who she was.
So your marriage and your kids and your wife were all extra things?
No, it wasn't extra at all. It was just something that I didn't communicate with her.
This part, downright awkward. Mr. Houston tries to dodge the question about using protection. Things are about to get way stickier as he scrambles to explain himself.
But you didn't use protection when you were sleeping with her.
You did not.
Did you tell me?
Don't lie. He did not use a condom, Your Honor. He did not.
Your Honor.
No, the answer is no. Don't let him lie to you. The answer is no. No. No.
Mr. Houston's version of how they met is so casual, it sounds like he's talking about grabbing lunch. He claims he was just getting to know her, not aiming for anything serious.
I had a homie that just got married. We were celebrating his marriage, I met her. She seemed like she was out of her comfort zone, She wasn't supposed to be there, you know what I mean? So I approached her. I said, hey, how you doing? We started communicating. She told me her name. I let her know who I was.
He did, Your Honor. Don't let him lie to you. When he do that thing with his eyebrows, he's lying.
When Miss Herman reveals they were together for a month and a half, the drama in the room doubles. And just when you think it can't get messier, in walks...
a month and a half when I found out I was pregnant. Told Cortez that I was pregnant, and he didn't say anything on the other line of that phone. He said, are you for real? I said, yes, I'm for real. Then he promised that he would be there throughout the whole pregnancy, not just 2 doctors.
At what point do you discover that he has a wife? Are you already pregnant?
Yes.
Here comes Mrs. Houston, and let's be real, she's not here to play nice. But hold up, these 2 women have even more to say.
How did you find out about Miss Herman?
The way I discovered, they were doing whatever was a message came in his phone. When I have the baby, I want to move in with you. I'm looking like, who the hell is this? And what is she talking about? So somebody is trying to get answers and he playing dumb, wouldn't tell me the truth about it. So eventually I end up calling the number and I talked to her.
The drama goes off the charts as Mrs. Houston reveals that both she and Miss Herman were pregnant at the same time. But Mr. Houston isn't done yet.
He said he's going to be there for me and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you're pregnant. I'm pregnant too. So how does that work?
See, I'm in the business of making babies. I have every reason to extend my bloodline. Let me.
And now Mr. Houston gives an excuse that's as surprising as it is ridiculous. The judge isn't having it, telling him straight up that making babies isn't how you heal from loss.
Exactly. And you thought by making more children,
I'll be connected with my father.
You will be connecting with your father. At the end of the day, you do have to understand that when you bring children into the world with paternity questions, that's not being a superhero. That's not being the kind of father you say you lost.
One for the history books. He claims he skipped the condom because he's allergic to latex. The judge looks ready to scream as she tries to get him to own up to his choices.
I don't like condoms, so I don't use condoms.
Exactly, and I want you to know this.
I'm allergic to latex, so I can use non-latex condoms.
Why do people keep saying they're allergic to latex but not allergic to sex?
This woman tried to trap me.
It's like
sex at all. You're right. First brought out the condom. I said, is it a no-latex condom? He told me no. I said, we better off not. No, never mind. I'll just do it anyway.
Miss Herman accuses Mr. Houston of barely being in Corey's life. Finally, it's It's time for the DNA results. And trust me, this could blow everything up.
Ms. Herman, Mr. Houston testified that he wants to be a dad. Has he been a dad to Corey?
No, he doesn't do anything for Corey at all.
This woman's a full of lies today. I don't know why.
Can you show you a receipt?
I made sure that I had his first pair of shoes. I got him some booties. I did everything that I was supposed to do, far as making sure he had car seats. I did all those things.
This moment right here, it's the jaw dropper everyone's been waiting for.
Has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't gotta talk to this man not no more.
Whoa, this case got messy real fast. Mr. Lester's like, nope, not mine. You had other guys around. Things are already looking dicey and we're just getting started.
Mr. Lester, you say that you and Ms. Moyet were never in a relationship and that she had multiple sex partners during her time of conception, so you are 100% certain that you are not father of baby Nyla.
Won't believe the pettiness in this part. Miss Moyet says Mr. Lester's big contribution so far includes a few diapers and one onesie for a boy. But trust me, these two are just getting warmed up.
Fact of 3 cases of diapers, a onesie that he bought for her, which was a boy outfit. Other than that, me and my mother have been providing food, milk, and everything and things like that. I also have evidence here showing you food, cribs,
Let me see that.
And then things took a weird turn. Miss Moya misbills that she planned this pregnancy by showing up at Mr. Lester's house on her special day.
I actually planned this pregnancy. I went over his house the day I was ovulating, and I let him know I'm ovulating. I want to have a baby. We did nothing.
That is not true.
Yeah, we did nothing to prevent Nyla. To make matters even worse, since I've had Nyla.
The tension really hit high gear when the judge started breaking down their relationship timeline. She straight up tells them that not using protection wasn't the smartest move.
What she's saying is you were having unprotected sex with her then, and even since this child's birth, you're still having unprotected sex with her, that you are a possible father.
I understand that, Your Honor.
So do you agree that you had with her during the time when Nyla was conceived?
Yes.
The cringe level spikes when Mr. Lester starts listing all the reasons he thinks he's not the dad. But let's be real, this wasn't exactly making his case any stronger.
Miss Moyet, she told me her name was Mia. Come to find out her name was Iris. I left her name in my contents as Mia because she was always missing in action. She told me out of her own mouth she had a boyfriend. She didn't appreciate that I wasn't spending time with her, and that's better than me, and I asked her, well, why you calling me tonight?
The courtroom vibes hit peak awkward when Mr. Lester claims they always use protection. Miss Moy fires back with a hard, no we didn't. She looks at the judge like, why would I lie about this?
We always had protected sex.
We had protected sex, Your Honor.
Mr. and I have never had protected sex.
Only I know how old I am, and I know what sex leads to. And I just want to point out to you the percentages having babies and how it declines.
Some more research.
Yes.
This is where Judge Lake hits us with some real talk. And honestly, it's kind of sweet. It's like she's dropping solid life advice.
You hear what he's saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know when you say you had the love of an older man, it was filling a void you felt for not having the love of your father. You were saying that. Regardless of what this result is today, I don't want you running around behind him. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're better than that, and you deserve more than that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right?
Now the big moment everyone's been waiting for is finally here.
Mr. Lester, you are Nyla's father.
Yes! Yes! Didn't I tell you?
You need to be respectful.
Didn't I tell you?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of drama, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Don't stop here. Check out more videos packed with twists, turns, and jaw-dropping moments. See you next time.
Things could not be any worse for this couple. Mrs. Hammond tells the courtroom that after being married for 10 years and attempting to have a child, she finally had her miracle baby, but for some reason her husband doesn't buy the idea of him being the father of the baby. Well, here's how it all started.
Mrs. Hammond, you claim that after 10 years of marriage and repeated attempts to get pregnant, a month ago you finally gave birth to your miracle baby, Isaac. You need today's result to prove to the defendant, your husband, that this is his baby. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
OMG, I can't believe what I just heard. Apparently, Mr. Hammond claims that his wife, Mrs. Hammond, has been cheating on him for quite some time, and he is certain that the child does not belong to him. Could that be true?
She's had multiple partners, and she lies to my face constantly. So how am I supposed to believe someone who's telling me it's night and it's daytime, you know what I mean?
So you say she lies to you all the time?
All the time. She had me in a snowsuit in the middle of summer.
Well, it seems to me like Mr. Hammond is tired of the marriage. He tells the judge that Mrs. Hammond has told lies to him on way too many occasions, and he finds it difficult to believe anything that pops out of her mouth.
I've seen a video of my wife giving oral to another man.
That is such a lie. There is no video, Your Honor. There is no video.
But was there a man and was there oral sex?
In all honesty, there has been cheating on both sides. My husband cheated on me first. I took it the wrong way. About a year after that happened, I've cheated on him.
Aha, so Mr. Hammond was right after all. His wife was actually sleeping with other people. But here's where things get intense. Mrs. Hammond claims that she was not the only one sleeping around with people outside of the marriage.
But if you're working for all these years to have this baby, why is there so much at stake and so much on the line? Why is there such paternity doubt?
Because we had left California and went back to Texas to be with his family. We went out there. I had to go back to California to handle some things.
More than once.
Oh, she did not just say that. I mean, it's pretty evident that Mr. Hammond's family does not like Mrs. Hammond at all. Mr. Hammond's family advised him to get another wife while Mrs. Hammond was away on vacation. Could you imagine that?
She's in the same place as this man is, you know what I mean?
And you posted these to your social media.
Correct.
Said, how does your wife of 11 years text people she's cheated on her husband with messages like this?
Ow! Now I see why Mr. Hammond's family wanted him to get another wife while Mrs. Hammond was away. Why on earth would she send these kinds of texts to another man while being married? Now that's just insane.
This doesn't sound too good, Ms. Hammond.
I'm sure it doesn't. I mean, I know what I have and what I haven't done.
You saw this man?
Yes, I did. I met him at our local county park, said hello to him. It was a friend that we had both worked with.
Judge Lauren couldn't have said it any better for real. Mrs. Hammond claims that the person she was texting happens to be a work colleague. But come on, who texts a work colleague using those emojis? Tell the truth, Mrs. Hammond.
I signed the birth certificate and I'm the last the last Hammond. So if I don't have a son, then my family's name is done. So maybe I rushed to want to be the father. You know what I mean?
I had let him know my water broke. He showed up to where I was living. I said, okay, are you gonna bring me to the hospital? He said, no, drive yourself.
Ha ha ha, that is hilarious. She tells the courtroom that after her water broke, she told Mr. Hammond and he told her to drive herself to the hospital. What was even mind-blowing was the fact that he went to sleep with another woman while she was trying to have their baby.
How many times have you cheated in this relationship?
4.
4. Mrs. Hammond, how many times have you cheated?
I've been with 3 other people.
I know at least 6 that she's been with. So there's no reason to fake the funk.
He believes that to many
I believe
people.
you've been with more than 6. I believe you've been with 13.
But then again,
Haha, I so wasn't expecting that from him. Apparently, Judge Lauren asked the both of them how many times they cheated on their marriage. Mr. Hammond told the judge he had cheated 4 times and also believed that his wife had slept with 13 other men.
The relationship from its inception to now, I've been more or less a part of it, you know, just being her brother, this whole entire adventure, as you might say.
Adventure it is.
Yeah, to say the least,
But we don't know where we going.
Right.
Seems like Mrs. Hammond's twin brother has been more or less the father or the child. He tells the judge that while Mr. Hammond refused to step up as the father, he has had to take care of the baby and his sister.
Maybe Mr. Hammond is not Isaac's biological father?
It would be foolish to think that there is no chance that it couldn't be his. I mean, there's always a chance if someone cheated that it could be someone else's.
Even with everything going on in the courtroom, Mrs. Hammond still believes that her husband is the father of the child. Well, I guess it's time to see if the DNA results are going to work in her favor.
Mr. Hammond, you are the father.
Ms. Nesbitt appears in court to prove to her boyfriend, Mr. Henderson, that he is indeed the father of her child. She admits having a stand with the neighbor, but is very certain the baby belongs to her boyfriend. As you would expect, Mr. Henderson disagrees with her story. Well, here's how it starts.
What has Mr. Henderson done so far for Zion?
Well, he buy her diapers, that's about it. He doesn't do anything for my child, but buy her diapers. He does more for my 2-year-old son that he knows that's not his, than his own daughter.
Oh, wow. Wow, apparently he hasn't done much for the child since she came into the world. Mr. Handeros tells the judge that he sees no reason why he should take care of another man's child. But then again, why does he think he is not the father of the baby?
Yes, I did because
He did what, Miss Nesbitt?
I went downstairs to go get my birth certificate and his name was on there. I told him not to put his name on there because I had doubts from the beginning, but he snuck anyways and signed his name on there.
Hearing that just sends my brain into a complete shutdown. She claims to have had doubts about the baby, and due to that fact, he didn't want Mr. Henderson to sign the birth certificate. Wow, these types of women always make me wonder if good women still exist.
You remember that conversation, and you signed it anyway.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he even lied to his father and told him that he got a DNA at the hospital when he didn't.
Why would you tell your dad you had a DNA test and you didn't?
Well, honestly, Your Honor, because I didn't want him all in my business.
Oh, Your Honor, that's a lie. He's not the birth certificate. He told me that he's not the birth certificate so he can have rights of the baby, so he can get custody of the baby.
Haha, I bet he was not expecting the judge to come at him like that. But I mean, what exactly was he thinking when he went on to sign the birth certificate, knowing fully well that he might not be the father of the child? That's just dumb for real.
Something not right. I just don't feel right. I really have doubts.
Because she kept coming to me like, this not your baby, LaDon. Like one time
After Zion was born?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I came in the house one night drunk. I don't know if she was mad at me or not. She probably could have said it out of spite.
I don't even know what to say. They both had doubts about the baby and still went on with everything. You can honestly tell that these two need to see a therapist once they're out of the courtroom. Even a 10-year-old knows better.
He had sex with his cousin, and I felt very vulnerable about it. And you know.
Yes, I did, but that was before her. She already knew about that.
Okay.
Yes, let me tell you how.
Proceed.
You know, I received the inbox telling me she said that she had sex with my little black car and they had a baby.
Seems like there's been a lot of sex going on with both parties. What's even mind-blowing is the fact that she said Mr. Henderson had sex with his cousin and she got pregnant. How in the world does that even happen? Yo, there are lines you just don't cross.
Well, me and Mr. Henderson, we got into an argument and it led in my apartment hallway, and Mr. Brown seen, so he came to my door, he comforted me, and it led off to him coming in, giving me a massage, and led off to me, and it led off more than just the massage.
And that's exactly why he is in paternity court. Your girlfriend tells you she had a one-night stand with a neighbor, and he goes on to assume that the baby can't belong to the neighbor? If I were his dad, I would give him the beating of his life. Come on.
I first met her, she had moved to my apartment building a couple doors down. And I used to always flirt with her, to blink an eye at her, you know what I'm saying? Cause she was a cute girl, you know? She was
a nice friend, that's about it.
Yeah, that's basically about it, you know?
But you did have a sexual encounter with her.
Yeah, one time.
There is no way these two had sex only once. From the moment he walked it, it felt like she had seen the love of her life. But if they say they had sex just once, then I guess they had sex just once. I wonder what other funny confession is going to pop out of his mouth.
What happened when she got pregnant?
She had texted me and told me, I got something to tell you. I'm like, tell me. She's like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, don't be embarrassed, tell me. She was like, I'm pregnant. It could be you or dying baby.
So at this point, you've been honest with both men?
Yes.
Ha 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 ha. I love how he said evidence. We both know Mr. Brown right here wants nothing to do with the child. All he wanted was a good time with Ms. Nesbitt. Anything outside of that is none of his business. Well, let's see what evidence he has to offer.
Look at her cheeks, nothing. Lips,
So
nose.
You submit to the court that she doesn't look anything like you, in your opinion?
Nothing like me. One day she had told me she didn't want to take the first. She used to always ask me, like, do you mind taking a test? I'm like, yeah. Then one day she called, text me like, you don't need to take no test because I know it's his baby.
He's got 4 kids already? Man, I thought people usually get tired after the 3rd one. Definitely not Mr. Brown. Seems like Mrs. Nesbitt didn't want to break Mr. Brown's heart, and that's why she refused to take the DNA test when Mr. Brown wanted to.
I'm like more of 100% sure that it's Don.
Now she done got my head all geek thinking it's my, you know what I'm saying? I want her to get this test over with.
She got me up here confused, Your Honor.
Yeah, she got me confused too. And then when they get into it, you know what I'm saying, she write little things on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? And then when I hit her up.
For a second there, I thought Mr. Henderson and Mr. Brown turned into women with the way they began to yab. Oh well, Ms. Nesbitt sticks to her story and tells the judge that she believes Mr. Henderson is the father, and she just wants him to step up and take responsibility.
But I'm trying to understand the situation. This is why I'm here, is to help you all each understand the other person's position. What he's saying is there's a level of resentment that he feels as it relates to baby Zion. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, trust me, Judge. We all caught that too. Mr. Henderson actually wants to be the father of the child. Well, let's see if the DNA results are going to make his wishes come true. Here are the results.
Mr. Brown, you are not her father.
Oh!
Mr. Henderson, you are her father.
Told you was her father from the beginning.
Ms. Walters says that the defendant is her 3-year-old son's father, and she wants him to step up. Mr. Rogers, the defendant, says this is false and that he has spent 2 months in jail for missing child support payments for a child that he insists doesn't belong to him. He is here with his mother to prove that he isn't the father.
I slept with another man weeks prior to even conceiving my son, and we did use protection. And at the time I conceived my son, he was the only person that I was having sex with without using protection. I've known them for 20 years now. We grew up together. We did family vacations together, holidays. Our families were always together.
So they were having unprotected intercourse in secret. When Mr. Rogers got news that Ms. Walters was pregnant, he told her congratulations and immediately asked her to congratulate the father. He says she never for once believed that he was the father of her baby.
Is that what you really felt?
Yes, ma'am. That is honestly what I believe.
Your Honor?
Because she was in a relationship with this other guy, so why would it automatically be mine?
But were you sleeping with her during the window of conception?
Yes, ma'am. We had slept together.
I was not in a relationship, Your Honor, with anybody.
Mr. Rogers' mom says that their families were really close, but the pregnancy has ruined all of that because Mr. Rogers insists that he's not the father.
That was my home away from home. I mean, I was always with them.
Like you can see in that picture, like we was friends, we was happy, we was best friends growing up, literally best friends.
She was like one of my children, Your Honor.
Ever since this happened, it's just completely killed everything.
tore
Our
us all
families
apart.
don't hang out no more.
Oh, you can see how all of this would completely ruin the family dynamics. Let's see how that looks from the perspective of Mrs. Rogers.
She come and stayed at my home. I didn't feel the need to supervise it because they grew up together.
Did you know if Miss Walters was intimate with anyone else?
Yes. Later on, I did because I found a bunch of condoms in her stuff when I went through it.
Despite hearing the rumors, Mrs. Rogers says that and doesn't think that her son could be the father. She says immediately she was informed that there was a chance. She asked her son, and he told her that he wasn't the father, so she took him at his word.
All right, I was not in the delivery room when he was born, so therefore my name is not on that birth certificate. I've had no DNA but DNA established the whole time he has been in this world. How am I on child support? I was out of town working when the court date was set up for the DNA test. So I missed the court date, automatically rules me as the father.
Well, that's how default judgment works. If you don't show up, you immediately become the father. And since Mr. Rogers didn't pay child support, he was arrested and locked up for 2 months.
I ended up going to this little country jail where, I don't know, it's like a little, it's not even a jail, it's a little barn thing. And they locked me up there for 3 days. They don't feed you on the weekends, but like 2 times a day, and it's these little bitty I don't even know what it was, to be honest with you, Your Honor.
That's what happens when you don't pay child support, Mr. Rogers. Next, we have Ms. Walters' best friend, Ms. Rochelle Rogers, who's also Mr. Rogers' sister, in court to give her testimony.
Do you believe your brother is Ryland's father?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Well, because at the time we were all young, we all done our different things, we were all partying. We were together every day, all the time. Every time we went out together. We done everything together. I was aware of her sleeping with the other guy. She also stated the next morning that she did sleep with him.
Ms. Rogers says that the other person is more likely to be the father of the baby and not her brother. Her reason is that Ms. Walters didn't know who the father could be when she got the pregnancy test. But now she is claiming that Mr. Rogers is certainly the father.
So you're saying when she first found out, you were there for the emotional breakdown when she realized she was pregnant?
Yes.
And in that moment, she admitted to you that there were 2 possible fathers.
Yes, which I knew before because of the party, and she did tell me that she slept with the guy the morning after she slept with him, and that was, weeks prior to this happening, of course, weeks prior to her finding out she was pregnant.
Well, that's a lot to take in. But the DNA test is here now, and it's time to get to the bottom of this. Who's the father, Mr. Rogers, or some other man?
Mr. Rogers, you are his father.
I'm sorry.
Both of you all burst into tears in that moment. What do you feel?
Your Honor, I grew up without a father, so I know what it's like. And I told myself from day one I was not going to be that person.
Ms. Ellis said that she had a brief fling with the defendant, but the man involved says that cannot be true because he never slept with Ms. Ellis. And here is how that insane case began.
Ms. Ellis, you claim you had a brief fling with the defendant 3 years ago. Soon after, you ended up pregnant, and now you hope to prove that he fathered your 3-year-old son, Zamarian.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Koger, you argue it would have to be a medical miracle for you to be her child's father.
I definitely wasn't expecting to hear that. If they did not have sex, how did she get pregnant? Anyway, Judge Lauren proceeded to ask the defendant, Mr. Koger, how their relationship started, and he claimed they kicked off as friends from the start.
Laugh it up, stuff like that. So it came to the point where she wanted to come over and stuff like that. So she would come over, We would hang out. Over the next course of time, you know, we ended up being home alone. There's nothing wrong with her. It was nothing wrong with me. We both was attracted to each other and came about with, hey, you know, might want to go upstairs and, you know.
Now, their story is quite confusing. Mr. Koger told the judge that, from what he could remember that night, they never had sex. Ms. Ellis, on the other hand, told the judge that they already started having sex before it came to an end due to her feeling some discomfort. To back up his claim, Mr. Koger presented this evidence to the judge.
This is a message.
We never messed around at all.
You said it hurt to have sex, and then you say, Miss Ellis, because it did, but I can take it now.
We never had intercourse at any time.
This only goes to prove that the testimony that you're giving right now is the truth.
I'm with the judge on that one. Their stories do not sound anything alike. Mr. Koger was done showing the court his evidence. Judge Lauren then faced Ms. Ellis and asked her to give an account of what she remembered happening that night.
And then, you know, we started, you know, talking about like, you know, sexual stuff or whatever. We went upstairs. As he said, he got undressed, I got undressed. And I was like, okay, it hurts. And he was like, you want me to stop? So I was like, no, you can keep going or whatever. So he kept going. And so I was like, okay, now it's starting to hurt a little too bad now. Can you stop or whatever?
This is going to be one tough case to settle. Trust me. Moving on, Ms. Ellis was out shopping with her mom when she passed out. As soon as that happened, she was rushed to the hospital, where she was hit with a truth bomb from one of the nurses.
To the point where you realize you're pregnant.
Okay, one day me and my mom, we was out having mother-daughter day, shopping, you know, going out to eat and everything. So we're walking to a shopping mall or whatever, and they say, you know, I passed out.
Oh, trust me, that's not the news she was expecting to get from the hospital. Mr. Koger, on the other hand, found out about the pregnancy in a very ridiculous way. When the judge asked him how he found out, this was the reply he gave her.
So, Mr. Koger, how did you find out about the pregnancy?
I found out via Facebook.
Oh.
Facebook.
And I have my ultrasound picture. I have my ultrasound picture when I found out.
I was scrolling, we was friends on Facebook. I scrolled through her pictures, found out she was pregnant. I saw her stomach, you know, she was all pregnant, you know, and stuff like that, so.
Well, you heard her. She did not want Mr. Koger to have anything to do with her baby. Another truth bomb is about to hit the floors of the courtroom. Apparently, a week before they messed around in the bedroom, Ms. Ellis was intimate with another man, which then begs the question, how certain is she that Mr. Koger is the father?
A week or so prior to us messing around, yes.
So a week or so prior to you and Mr. Koger having the sex that you may not have had, you were intimate with someone else?
Yes.
Without protection?
Yes.
Wow, Ms. Ellis has got to be kidding. She had already told him he was not the father of the child. Why then is he in court? Jeez. Anyway, Mr. Koger had his wife by his side in the courtroom. When the judge asked her what she had to say about the situation, this was her response.
I support my husband in the whole thing because there's no reason for him to lie about something that happened before we even got together.
He lied about a lot of things. You don't know about a lie.
He doesn't have to lie about having sex with anyone. And on top of that, he called her in front of me and put it on speakerphone, and he asked her the same incident.
Did he tell you we had sex in the car?
Excuse me.
That definitely makes Ms. Ellis look like she's been lying in the courtroom. One thing is for sure, though. The DNA results never lie about these kinds of situations. Find out who the father of the child is.
Mr. Koger, you are Zamarian's father.
This is one case filled with all the chaos in the world. Trust me, the defendant, Mr. Baker, refused to accept Ms. Commons' 2-year-old baby. Why? Well, Mr. Baker claims to have found out that she cheated on him just 5 months ago after being a loving dad to her daughter for more than a year. Well, here is how the case began.
Ms. Commons, you claim the defendant has been denying your 2-year-old daughter Breeze and refuses to do anything for her. You are furious and testify that you are certain he is the father and plan to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, Shauna.
Well, one we can deny is the fact that Ms. Commons is pissed about the situation. She tells the judge that from the very beginning, Mr. Baker was a sweet, loving man, claiming that her child should not have to suffer because Mr. Baker doubts. The big question now is, if he was such a sweet man, why did he switch up all of a sudden?
And give me an example how he denies it.
First he'll say, go over there to your mama. He know how my baby is affectionate. My baby got a skin fetish. She like to rub on people. So that hurt my feelings when he be like, go to your mama. And she be like, I want you. And he be just saying, go to your mama. Go to your mama. Why are you telling her to go to her mother?
Haha. I can't be the only one who saw that face Mr. Baker gave when Ms. Commons was talking about how she felt bad that he was always neglecting her daughter. Could Ms. Commons be lying about the whole situation? Well, I guess we are gonna find out now, won't we?
All right, well, first of all, I got doubts because everything that come out of her mouth a lie. Like, all the stuff she did in the past, from
you can't hold
just cheating with multiple people. Cheating with multiple people. I could catch her like if her phone bing, she hide it.
If my phone bing,
people
you just want it. It could be, if my phone bing, it could be Jesus Christ. He gonna think I'm sleeping with.
Haha. This dude did not just say that. Judge Lauren asked him how he felt when Ms. Commons told him she was pregnant. He said that he asked her immediately if he was the father because he knew and caught her on numerous occasions messing with other men in the house. Wow.
I was like, well, I don't know, but if she is, man, you feel me? I'm gonna be there for you. I do want to be a good father to my kids.
Yeah, so you decided you wanted to try to be a family?
Yes.
Duh. What was she expecting? Yes, he was there throughout the pregnancy. He has been taking care of the child all this while, and she goes on to drop a truth bomb on him that she had something to do with her ex. If I were in his shoes, I would take the little go and disappear for real.
You believe she was yours and you decided to make a family.
Yes.
Now, the first bomb got dropped, you said, when you appeared in couples court. What happened?
2 separate guys on 2 different occasions.
Ha 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 ha. Mr. Baker did not just go full undercover mode to catch Ms. Commons cheating. He tells the judge that he told her he was going to be out with his friends. The catch was that he was going to tell Ms. Commons that he was out, but later sneaked into the house to catch her in the act.
Pop up 3 in the morning, knock on the door, well, ring the doorbell, whatever. She come to the window, guy walk right out. Wasn't nothing open up in there that night but legs. You feel me? And she said she ain't did nothing
that night.
And she said she ain't did
Come on, man. If it was some legs open, I don't have
Next day, right?
On my goodness. 2 different guys? Come on, Ms. Commons. It looks like Mr. Baker's undercover work paid off after all. He claims to have caught her with 2 different guys on 2 different occasions. He went on to say that she even told him that one of the guys gave them oral sex. Wow.
We chilling in the hot tub, jacuzzi and everything, and after Blue just came, I cheated. Hold on.
No, that's not what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened.
She like, I cheated, I stepped out.
Damn. Ms. Commons is one busy woman. Cheating on Mr. Baker with 3 different people? That is just over the bar for real. One would honestly ask if she ever loved Mr. Baker at all, because if she did love him, I honestly doubt she would be doing any of this.
Look, if you had sex with him after you had the baby, what you was saying that was my baby, you had sex with him after that and before that, and then how I know that ain't his child? You feel me?
You wanna know how I know for a fact that it's his daughter? How?
Ms. Commons has got to be one delusional woman. I mean, she might be right about the whooping cough, but is she really one to ignore the fact that she slept with 3 different dudes before she had the baby? She had better be joking.
You already have, Mr. Baker?
Basically, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You feel me? Her legs were still open.
You want to put everything on me, but your legs are still open as well. You were both doing stuff. Don't make me a bad person. I'm human just like you.
Judge Lauren the words right out of my mouth for real. This is actually a recipe for disaster. Having unprotected sexual relationships with other people and thinking they wouldn't have consequences, that's not how it works.
I knew for a fact she was having sex with other guys.
During the time Breeze was conceived?
Absolutely.
You say you know that for a fact?
Yeah, because we would talk on the phone too, and she'd tell me like, I just left from my friend's house, this dude, and she'd tell me like, oh girl, his sex wasn't about nothing, like that type of stuff. So I knew for a fact.
When the best friend gets involved, best believe that all the secrets are about to pop out. And that's exactly what's happening here. Mr. Baker's witness, who happens to be Ms. Commons' best friend, drops all the truth bomb, and trust me, it's a lot. Well, let's see what these results have to say about this situation.
Mr. Baker, you are the father.
Mr. Powell doubts the paternity of his son because his ex-wife cheated on him 3 months after their marriage. His wife, Ms. Burns, who's here with her boyfriend, admits to cheating but wishes the child was his.
Mr. Powell, you claim your wife, Ms. Burns, cheated on you with the man standing next to her.
Yes, Your Honor.
After after only 3 months of marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
You to live with him, and now you say the paternity of your child is in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now this is an interesting case. Ms. Burns cheated on her husband only 3 months after their wedding. That's ridiculous. Even worse, she moved out and went to live with her boyfriend, who, surprisingly, is also in court today.
We would get into an argument. She would leave me and go be with another person. And then if she got upset with that person, she would do the exact same thing, come back to me and sleep with me.
Now, how long did this go on for?
For about a year.
What? This man watched his wife shuffle between different men for a whole year and still always welcomed her home. This is a special kind of love, and guess what? It gets even worse if you can believe it.
Yes, but Mr. Powell's had a job and then he'd lose his job. He had a job and then he'd lose his job. I figured everything was put off on me.
That's a nice comeback. But wait, 3 other kids? So Ms. Burns had 3 children and a new husband, but she kept sleeping with different men. We need to get more details about this story, because so far it's not very clear.
We have a child together. We have a 6-year-old together. So when the DNA come up for her and he come back the father to her, he wanted to meet her because he hadn't seen her pretty much her whole life.
Oh, so when you say the DNA came up, explain to me what you're saying. There was DNA testing done on this child.
Yes.
What the hell is going on? First, Ms. Burns has been in a situation similar to this one. She's questioned the paternity of one of her other kids before. Second, how does a married woman leave her home to stay with a baby daddy who hasn't been around for 6 years?
Ms. Burns, how soon after that did you find out you were pregnant?
Almost 2 months after I had separated from Mr. Powell.
So when you were pregnant, did you tell both men you were pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whew, this has to be one of the most unbelievable cases we've ever come across. Ms. Burns and Mr. Jones have kids of their own, and one together, and Mr. Jones doesn't want another kid. Then there's Mr. Powell, who doesn't know what to believe anymore. I mean, could it get any worse at this point?
We're still having sex, Your Honor.
All this time?
Yes. Even to this day.
What?
You know, up till a week ago.
No, this is unbelievable. Mr. Powell and Ms. Burns are still having sex. These people are divorced. Apart from that, there's a paternity issue at hand, and Ms. Burns is supposed to be with someone else.
That I'm not lying, that I'm telling the truth. And so that Mr. Jones can know the truth. Your Honor, I do have the results here.
Jerome, please hand me those results.
God, we about to find out. Oh, man.
Mr. Powell went as far as taking a lie detector test to prove that he and Ms. Burns are still having sex because he knew she was going to lie in court. Mr. Jones seems to think the whole thing is ridiculous, and so do we.
I did not know this was going to be like this. I'm kind of hurt.
It's because she's lying to both of us.
We're as confused as you, Mr. Jones. It turns out Ms. Burns is a serial cheat and liar. And honestly, it's getting out of hand. Nobody knows what to believe anymore. Who is lying? Who is telling the truth?
I buy things for the baby all the time because I didn't know if this was my child or not.
Because you love the child.
I do. And I love the mother of this child.
And do you still want to be with her today?
Absolutely.
You may be thinking Mr. Powell is out of his mind, but he is just a man in love. What's sad is he's in love with the wrong person. This woman doesn't care about him, not even in the slightest bit.
And
Why
Your
do you
Honor,
say that?
Your Honor, because like I said, Your Honor, I have 3 kids besides Lucas, Your Honor, and actually, I want to be technical, I would have 4 kids, Your Honor. I do take care of her other.
At this point, the men have formed an alliance because they are both victims of Ms. Burns' tactics. How can you have your children call 2 different men daddy? It's a lot to handle. If I were in their shoes, I would honestly want nothing to do with Ms. Burns.
Have now taken the same side of the plaintiff's podium against you. I've never seen it in all my days. And before I go to the results, I have to give you another opportunity because there obviously have been some lies. Is there something you have not said in this courtroom?
She finally said the truth. It's time for the results. Let's find out who the lucky, or should we say unlucky, baby daddy is. The good thing is that Judge Lauren has all the results we might need right here. Let's get to the tom of this whole drama, shall we?
Mr. Jones, you are his father.
Sorry, man, I was rooting for you, bro. I'm still gonna love you. I'm gonna be there. All the information that I just heard today, I just wish it kind of wasn't.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Ryan. Because of Ryan. Ryan left me me to go be with Mr. Robert. Stay down with everybody who you talk to, because that's what you do.
Me, you and the Lord know you a slut.
No, you're
Hold on.
You're a slut. You're a
Mr.
slut.
Wallace, you
slut.
remember from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here,
I don't-
we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can but do it. Okay, but if you know the real truth and you know that he might not be the biological father, why give in to the name and name this child after him? Because knowing that there's a possibility.
I was in love with him. We were together all the time. I mean, he demanded it, that's what he wanted. He denied the DNA.
Things always take a dark turn when greed and deception come into play. Miss Thompson is on a mission to defend her late brother Kevin's honor against Miss Lee, a 19-year-old woman claiming that Kevin fathered her 3-month-old daughter, Nevaeh.
It was 100% positive that he was not the father. He stated that Miss Lee was a money-hungry, compulsive liar.
Really?
Yes. Basically, she was just one of the ladies that he was sleeping with at the time, and she claimed to be pregnant by him.
But he did not believe that.
No.
Miss Thompson's strongest piece of evidence? Kevin himself had confided in her that Miss Lee had been relentlessly harassing him about getting her pregnant. Yet, he was adamant he was not the father.
We did what we did. After that, I cleaned up, and after I cleaned up, I threw up, and my body reacted and started
So you were
changing
pregnant
automatically. And I went to the store the next day, and I got 2 pregnancy tests, and they both came positive. And he said, "Oh, that's not my baby. That's not my baby."
Exactly.
Because he had multiple women.
Even Judge Lauren is momentarily stunned by the case. How could Miss Lee believe she conceived so quickly? Did she ever stop to consider that the nausea she experienced after being with Kevin might have simply been from drinking too much?
This isn't the first time that she claimed to be pregnant by him also. This is his
That's
words.
a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. I ain't never, I don't want to be pregnant. You hear me? I ain't never walked around talking about, look how little I am. Come on now.
All right, hold on. You're saying this is the second time?
From his
What do you mean?
Miss Thompson stands firm, insisting that she trusts her brother's word over what she sees as blatant lies. But Miss Lee pushes back, claiming Kevin's family had always been against her and that they were outsiders who never truly understood her relationship with him.
What was the nature of your relationship?
We were together for 6 years, love.
If you call me love one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a habit.
Trust me, I get it, but you got to break it now.
Yes, you are.
Okay, you were together for 6 years.
Yes.
You weren't committed because you're saying he had other girls.
We were on up and downs, on and off.
On and off.
Correct.
So you also dated other people?
No.
The most devastating moment for Miss Thompson came just after burying Kevin, when she received a phone call informing her that someone had broken into his house. Rushing to the scene, she was shocked to find Miss Lee and her friends stealing Kevin's belongings.
He would have came to us and just said, hey, I want something to remember him by. Because we know he had, multiple women who probably wanted a piece of him.
Why would I do that in the way y'all said?
Like I said, we didn't know you at that time.
You still don't know me.
Exactly.
You think you
I know nothing of you.
You're exactly right.
But the most brutal blow to Kevin's family came when Miss Lee had the audacity to demand a share of Kevin's property and money for her daughter before paternity was even confirmed. Was Miss Lee truly seeking justice for her child, or was this just another act of manipulation in her pursuit of financial security?
Okay, the day after the baby was born, she called another family member, not my mom, and asked her for his social security number. So that was the second time that she's asked for the social security number.
And you're asking for the social security number for what?
I asked one time, and so my baby can have some benefits, so she can have what she needs.
The court now faces the challenge of unraveling the truth behind Miss Lee's claim.
The Harris is related to Miss Thompson.
That's okay, so you still don't need them, baby. You don't need them.
They say the third time's the charm, and today, Miss Austin is about to find out if that holds true. Making her third appearance in paternity court, she has once again dragged along 2 familiar faces, Mr. Wallace and Miss Roberts.
Time you were standing on the defendant's side with Roniel.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace, you back with Miss Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
But you still going back and forth between the 2 women because she's pregnant now and the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
So what's the issue this time? It turns out 9-month-old Raniel still doesn't have a confirmed father. Mr. Wallace is convinced he isn't the father, but what shocks everyone the most is how he immediately starts cursing at Miss Austin, forcing Judge Lauren to step in and reprimand him.
Last time we was here, everything started out okay, but we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Raniel Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Roniel, and she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again.
Apparently, Mr. Wallace is the one who can't stay committed. He seems to want the best of both worlds, bouncing back and forth between Miss Austin and Miss Roberts. To make matters worse, even though today's paternity case is about their second child, it's revealed that Miss Austin is now pregnant with another baby, once again possibly fathered by Mr.
Wallace, as to whether or not her child is your child if you've been having babies with both of these women back and forth all this time.
I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. They would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my emails.
As tensions rise, an altercation brews, prompting Judge Lauren to restore order. She directly asks Miss Austin if she had been unfaithful to Mr. Wallace, but Miss Austin firmly denies it, even offering to take a lie detector test to prove her innocence.
Lay down with everybody who you talk to, because that's what you do.
You and the Lord know you a slut.
No,
like,
you're a slut. You're a slut. You're a
Mr.
slut.
Wallace, you
slut.
remember from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here,
I
we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can, but do it respectfully. So you believe she was sleeping around?
For the second time, Judge Lauren has to scold Mr. Wallace for his language. This man certainly doesn't hold back. Suddenly, things escalate between Miss Austin and Miss Roberts when Miss Austin accuses her of enabling Mr. Wallace's infidelity. The argument gets so heated that security has to escort Miss Roberts out of the courtroom.
Are you admitting that you also had a relationship with somebody else during the time?
No, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
It was just someone else you were seeing?
Yeah, because I was hurt by trying to get back at Rangel, things that he had done to me.
At the end of the day, you all can see now that two wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong.
Judge Lauren tries to bring Miss Austin back to reality, pointing out that while she may not have been physically involved with other men when she got pregnant, she did communicate with several behind Mr. Wallace's back. No wonder Mr. Wallace has doubts about the paternity of their second child.
Do you feel like these similarities are not compelling enough?
No, you can't just go off looks. I'm going off her actions.
You couldn't forgive her. You all couldn't work through this. Instead, you just went to stay with Miss Roberts.
That's false.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Rangel. Because of Rangel. Rangel left me to go be with Miss Roberts.
In an emotional breakdown, Miss Austin expresses frustration over how Mr. Wallace keeps walking in and out of their lives. To her, it's not just about them, it's about their children. But Mr. Wallace believes she's just putting on a show. With trust shattered and emotions at their peak, only the truth can bring closure to this chaotic situation.
Has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father.
Mr. Patterson isn't just heartbroken, he's furious. He was tricked into signing the birth certificate of 4-year-old DeMarcus, only for Miss Knight to suddenly claim that another man might actually be the child's father.
Since he came out the womb, since he entered this world, when the doctor first, held him up and finally gave him to him, I witnessed him just completely quit crying and looked me dead in my eyes, and at that moment I knew I became someone's father. So at that moment, all the doubts that we had before, I just knew they were just out the window and it was gonna leave us a happy family, but
it didn't happen that way.
Not exactly.
Both sides have completely different stories to tell. Looking back, when Miss Knight first discovered she was pregnant, she admits she confided in Mr. Patterson, telling him there was a possibility he wasn't the father. But what does Mr. Patterson have to say about that now?
3 days since then, DeMarcus ended up cheating on me within the time we were together, and I ended up leaving with Ladarius, with the alleged father, and basically we didn't work out at all. So I called DeMarcus to let him know, hey, I could be pregnant by Ladarius and you, and DeMarcus was like, well, I want to be with you.
To make matters worse, Miss Knight disappeared for 2 whole months after leaving Mr. Patterson's house. No calls, no messages, as if she had vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, Mr. Patterson's grandmother warned him that he was dealing with a reckless woman, someone who would slip right through his fingers if he wasn't careful.
Ended up having protected sex that night, and then we ran out of condoms, and while we were doing it, I told him to go ahead and get me pregnant. That's what I called DeMarcus and let DeMarcus know. I'm pregnant right now, and it's a possibility that it's Ladarius' baby or your baby. DeMarcus told me to come home.
So you got back together with Mr. Patterson.
Because me and Ladarius were like oil and water, and we could not do it.
The court is drowning in details, but at the heart of it all, Miss Knight insists that Mr. Patterson always knew another man could be the father. So why is he acting like this is brand new information?
His name is going to be DeMarcus Ladarius Patterson Jr., and I don't care what y'all got to say, and that's what it was.
But if you you know the real truth and you know that he might not be the biological father, why give in to the name and name this child after him? Because knowing that there's a possibility.
I was in love with him. We were together all the time. I mean, he demanded it, that's what he wanted. He denied the DNA test.
In an emotional confession, Miss Knight reveals that deep down, she had always hoped DeMarcus was Mr. Patterson's son. Between the two possible fathers, Mr. Patterson was the true gentleman, the kind of man any woman would want to build a future with.
When I asked DeMarcus to do something, he will, when I asked. But the only reason why he stopped doing the things, like he used to come in and just do it without me having to ask. But because I chose to allow Felicia and Ladarius in his life, DeMarcus told me, I'm going to go ahead and take a step back and let Ladarius step in.
I ain't say that now.
Yes,
I said that I was just...
Just when it seems like this case couldn't get any more complicated, Miss Knight drops another bombshell. Her godmother is none other than the other man's mother. The courtroom is stunned by the sheer audacity of her actions.
So you said Miss Sigler is your godmother.
Right.
So the other possible father is your god brother?
Right.
Oh.
Ladarius.
Oh, you making this look bad.
Lord.
But the most ruthless twist, Miss Knight allowed the other man's family to spend time with DeMarcus, despite knowing there was a chance he wasn't their blood. How does she justify that? Biologically, a child can only have one father. With emotions running high and trust shattered, only the DNA results can reveal the truth. Who is DeMarcus's real father?
The biological father is Mr. Sigler. What do you feel right now?
Hurt. Could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided.
I love that little boy right there. I know he's gonna be happy. You bring him out right now, you're gonna run straight to me.
In this episode of Who Is Obviously the Father or Not, Miss Smith appears in court uncertain about the paternity of her 4-month-old son due to a miscalculation during her pregnancy.
Miss Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamondre. Now today you hope to determine whether your ex-boyfriend or the defendant, Mr. Brooker, fathered your child.
Mr. Booker humorously admits that in his morning conversations with Miss Smith, he sometimes struggles to understand what she's saying. However, the real confusion arises when Miss Smith realizes her pregnancy timeline might align with her ex-boyfriend instead.
Talk to me about this miscalculation.
I went to 3 different doctors and they told me, well, yeah, you're about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and they did it by the chart. So that led back to my ex. And then that next week I went and I got a blood test done, and they said that just about the same thing, 8 or 9 weeks, and my due date was April 9th.
Miss Smith reveals that each doctor gave her a different estimated due date, one of which matches her time with Mr. Booker. Conflicting medical opinions intensify the suspense, leaving both the court and the audience in shock.
Where it gets confusing, I was stating that me and Mr. Brooker had sex August on the 14th, and then that's when I went to the doctor again on the 24th, and they gave me a date of May 13th, and at that time I'm like, that corresponds with the time me and him having sex.
To make sense of the situation, expert witness Dr. Gator explains that Miss Smith's irregular menstrual cycle led to discrepancies in her estimated due date. His testimony delves into the complexities of pregnancy calculations, keeping everyone in the courtroom at the edge of their seats as they await the final verdict.
Have you reviewed the paperwork we submitted to you, and how can that happen, and why does that happen?
It actually happens more often than you would think. At Miss Smith's first visit, she basically was given a potential due date of April the 9th, and that was based off of her last menstrual period of July the 3rd.
During an emotional moment, Miss Smith recounts her conversation with Mr. Booker about the uncertainty of paternity. Despite his doubts, he remained both excited and nervous about becoming a father, choosing to be supportive and attending the initial doctor's appointments, proving his dedication regardless of the outcome.
He was the father, at least a strong potential, right?
Right.
So what were you telling him?
Well, I'll let him know up front that, you know, Trey could possibly be the father, but he was really upset because it would have been his first child, and that would have just made him happy. But he said that if I, you know, whatever happens, he want to be there and he want to be supportive.
Then comes the shocking revelation. An at-home DNA test shows 0 probability that Mr. Booker is the father. Miss Smith, however, questions the accuracy of the results, arguing that her son was born prematurely and that a nurse had advised against using a home test.
Probability of paternity 0. What did you think then?
Baby.
You did.
Yes, ma'am.
If you say you don't believe this test was accurate?
I don't believe that because I feel like he was born early, advises not to do it. So that's why I don't believe that it's accurate.
In the most emotional moment of the case, the court finally unveils the official test results, sending shockwaves through the room. Mr. Booker's expression shifts between anticipation and disbelief, while Miss Smith grips her seat in nervous anticipation. The truth isn't what they expected, but one thing remains clear: commitment to facing reality together, no matter the outcome.
Mr. Brooker, you are not his father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news.
It's okay. I'm still gonna be there.
If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support means a lot.
In the room, Jennifer's grandmother was holding her, and Dee Dee was laying in the bed, and I just proceeded to go to my girlfriend's room.
Sometimes the results from the DNA test can be very unpleasant. It gets so upsetting that husbands storm out of the courtroom with so much anger and frustration. These are a few times when fathers lost their cool when the results were revealed. Ms. Cherry claims that Mr. Johnson is her father, even though this is the first time she has ever seen him in person. She also claims that she knows he doesn't believe he is her father, but she says that he is the only man that she has been told is her biological father, and she hopes that the results will prove just that. This is how she starts her case.
You know he does not believe that he is your biological father, but you claim this is the only man you've ever been told is your dad.
Wow, that's actually a very horrible thing to say to someone. Ms. Cherry says that the results are important to her because she hopes to find closure. She says that some of her family members told her that her parents didn't love her, and that's why they gave her up for adoption.
She's ever been told it's her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And yet you admittedly have not been there.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you don't know.
This is going to be one dicey case. Mr. Johnson tells Judge Lauren that he does not believe he is Ms. Cherry's father because in the past, he was told that he was her biological father. And just after getting to hear that, another family member told him that he was no longer the father of Ms. Cherry. I wonder how that works.
Remember the relationship with her mother?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you meet? Tell me about that relationship.
At the time, in 1985, my girlfriend was also pregnant.
Looks like we're starting to uncover the mystery. Mr. Johnson confesses and tells the judge that he had a girlfriend who traveled for a bit, and while she was away, he and Ms. Cherry's mother kicked it in bed. He admits to sleeping with her mother, but says it happened just once.
Do you find out?
Yes, I found out through the neighborhood. People in the neighborhood just were coming up to me and telling me, "Congratulations on your daughter," and I was saying, "I'm having a son."
And that right there is another confession. Mr. Johnson tells the judge that he found out she was pregnant through the people in the neighborhood. They kept telling him congratulations when everyone knew Ms. Cherry's mother was pregnant. He then goes on to say that he didn't believe he was the father because the timeline did not add up.
I went to the hospital to visit my son who had been born. And when I got to the hospital, someone had said,
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting to hear that. Apparently, Mr. Johnson's girlfriend at the time was pregnant with his son. When he went to the hospital, he saw Ms. Cherry's mother and her grandmother in the same hospital where his son had just been born. Instead of stopping to know what was going on, he walked past them and went straight to his girlfriend's room.
I had already been told that I was not the father, but now again...
Who told you you weren't the father at that time?
Someone in Jennifer's family that was threatening me.
I just love the fact that he is being very honest about the whole situation. He says that he walked past them in the hospital because a family member already told him that he was not the father of Ms. Cherry. He then goes on to say that he went with the story because he already had a son and wasn't ready to be the father of two kids who had different mothers.
You have these moments where you say that you have the opportunity to settle this, to get closure, to have resolution to this. And it seems like you keep...
Well, he doesn't have a choice now. The funny thing is that Mr. Johnson had so many opportunities to reach out and find out if Miss Cherry was his biological daughter, but he did not proceed with any of them. Let's just say he was young at the time and he didn't want the stress of having to cater to another child.
That spelling, but we found someone with this spelling. It was him, the only Perez Johnson in Pittsburgh that was on Facebook. So
Trust me, anyone would break down in tears if they received that message. Ms. Cherry actually reached out to Mr. Johnson on Facebook, telling him that she could be his daughter. He replied to the message by saying that he initially didn't think he was, but after going through her pictures, he very much believes he could be her father.
I had to grow up without a father, and I'm willing to do DNA for you, but I believe 99% you are. I've always waited for you to contact me. Wow.
At this point, I don't even know what to say. Mr. Johnson still sticks to his story and tells the judge that he believes he is her father because there's a resemblance. Well, the results are in, and I think that's the only thing that can put the case to rest. Let's see what the results have to say.
Mr. Johnson, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I was hoping to get closure for you today, Miss Cherry.
It's okay.
You are so deserving and worthy. And even though I could not give you the answer you wanted.
Mr. Lillard says that he was forced to open his case after receiving a massage last year from Ms. Holt's 20-year-old son. Ms. Holt says that she has unsuccessfully tried for 20 years to get Mr. Lillard to accept responsibility for her son, and today is the day he is finally going to accept the truth. This is how the case begins.
Mr. Lillard, you say you were forced to open this case after receiving a message last year from Ms. Holt's 20-year-old son, Delvin Holt.
Ha ha ha. I'm sure everyone knows what he means by a lot of experiences. Mr. Lillard starts by saying that he met Ms. Holt back in high school and he was in love with her. Seems like they had a beautiful relationship. But if that's the case, how then is he denying her son and has not been in his life for over 20 years?
So, Miss Holt, tell me about the relationship. What do you remember?
We was in a good relationship. We really didn't have any problems.
Aha! Now that's the juice we've been waiting for. Ms. Holt admits that she loved him and does not deny the fact that Mr. Lillard was a sweet man to her. The judge then proceeds to ask how things went sideways, and Mr. Lillard responded by saying it all went down the drain when he caught Ms. Holt cheating.
It wasn't even like that.
Look through the peephole?
It wasn't even like that.
See shadows moving all around?
No.
Through the peephole?
Tiptoeing towards the door?
No.
He might be laughing about it now, but you can tell that must have been one crazy situation. Ms. Lillard tells the judge that he remembers Ms. Holt not being at school one day, and when he went to her house to check if she was okay, he caught her with another man in the house.
And I knew he was outside knocking on my door also.
But if you have a steady boyfriend, why are you leaving school with another boy and going to lock yourself in the house in the daytime?
Well, that changes the dynamic of everything. Ms. Holt admits that she did actually have another man in the house, but nothing happened. She goes on to say that she was already pregnant, so she couldn't have sex with another man, and she knows for a fact that Mr. Lillard was the only man she had unprotected sex with.
She says, I'm pregnant.
There you go.
You remember the day she told you?
Honestly, I tried to block out my mind after that. I was hurt. Like I said, that was my first time ever.
Oh, so you had the puppy love heartbreak over that.
With the expression he just gave, I don't think he believes he is the father of her son. Ms. Holt tells the judge that Mr. Lillard was not present for the pregnancy. After her sim was born, she reached out to Mr. Lillard. Due to the fact that he was still upset about her having another man in her house, he denied her sim and said he was not the father.
What do you know about him?
Your Honor, my mom has always told me he was my father, and I just basically came here to let him know I don't need a father.
They actually do look alike. Ms. Cherry's son finally speaks, and he says that he wants Mr. Lillard to know that he doesn't really need a father. He just wants to know if Mr. Lillard is actually his biological father so he can make his peace with it, and his mother can get the closure she wants.
After she called me years later, she asked me, could I do this? Well, I'm already in the system. Go down there, take him down there, and have him tested.
Now that's very weird. Mr. Lillard tells the judge that he actually did try to get a DNA test done. When he went back to the court to get the results from the DNA test he had done, he was told that there were no records of him taking a DNA test in their system. I'm not buying that story.
I've had 4 of them done. If there's any kind of discrepancy with any woman I sleep with, I ain't worried about no child. Go on down there. Come on, let's go. Ain't no shame in my game. I'd rather know our child is mine now than later.
Aha! Now, Ms. Holt has a lot of explaining to do. The judge asked Mr. Lillard why he reached out to the court before this case, and he said he actually did. But here is the thing. He found out that another person's name was under their case, and it was not even the guy Ms. Holt had in the house. Imagine that.
Ms. Holt, did you test another man?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I did. I had another guy tested, and he was not the father. And that was because I was dealing with him before me and Darius had got together.
Phew, at least she admitted to having another man tested. She says that the results of the test she took with the other man showed that he was not the father. Well, let's see if the results from this case are going to reveal that Mr. Lillard is the father of her son. Here are the results.
Mr. Lillard, you are not the father.
Darius, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for putting you through that. I really am. Sorry.
Mr. Williams says that from the moment he saw Quenisha Mayberry, he believed she was his daughter, even though the defendant claims that he is not her father. He hopes the results from the case today will show that he is indeed her biological father. Ms. Wynn, on the other hand, says that she has never given Mr. Williams reason to think that Mayberry is his daughter. Their case begins this way.
Mr. Williams, from the moment you saw Quenisha Mayberry, you believe that she is your biological daughter, even though the defendant claimed you are not.
About a week after she was born? Wow. One would think Ms. Wynn never wanted him to be the father, and she kept Mayberry away from him after she was born. It's not surprising. She already said she knows who the real father is, and as far as she is concerned, it is not Mr. Williams.
He's not her father, Your Honor. Color don't mean nothing. You know, because he light-skinned and she light-skinned, the other guy is dark-skinned, I'm dark-skinned. That don't prove that he's her father.
It sure doesn't.
I know who's her father.
At least that fact has been cleared. Mr. Williams says that Ms. Wynn always tried to get his attention. They did mess around a couple of times, but they were never in an actual relationship. It was just them kicking it in bed, and they seemed to enjoy each other's company a lot.
Ms. Wynn, how do you remember your relationship with Mr. Williams? Can you take me back?
I don't remember.
Wait, what?
I don't remember at all. If he said it happened, it must have happened. I don't remember.
Well, that's a first. After Judge Lauren asked Mr. Williams about his relationship with Ms. Wynn, she moved on to ask Ms. Wynn what her relationship was with Mr. Williams. And to everyone's surprise, she said she couldn't remember having a sexual relationship with Mr. Williams. She can't be serious.
And so
what still don't prove he's the father?
No, it doesn't. Look, she about to take my job, Jerome.
Sorry.
She said that don't prove nothing. No, walking past the store doesn't prove he's the father. You're correct.
I'm sorry, but nothing about what Ms. Wynn is saying makes any sense. She says that she was okay with Mr. Williams coming to take her child and play with her, but she says she can't remember ever having a sexual or romantic relationship with him. Even Judge Lauren can't seem to understand Ms. Wynn.
Came and got her for like my nieces and nephews' birthday parties. I used to go get her so she can come and play with the other kids. And I would keep her the duration of the party.
How long did that last? How often was that?
I'm sorry, but Judge Lauren's face right now is hilarious. You can tell she's confused by the fact that Ms. Wynn seems to be so sure that Mr. Williams is not the father of her child. Ms. Wynn even goes on to say that Mr. Williams should have done a DNA test during the visits and not waited 25 years to bring the case to court.
Who did you grow up thinking was your father?
The man that signed my birth certificate, I met him like twice. I don't feel like we have a connection. I definitely don't look like him. I really don't feel like that's my father.
There's no doubt that Ms. Wynn might have been an amazing mother to her daughter, but I don't think she can fill the shoes of a father figure in her daughter's life. Mayberry says that another man signed her birth certificate, but she does not have a connection with him, and she has only met him twice in her life.
Back in the day, like when this picture was taken, were you running around saying, "Here's my daughter, Quenisha"?
Yeah, that's how I addressed her. When anybody asked me about her.
Man, these two are just hilarious. Judge Lauren asked Mr. Williams if he had always referred to Mayberry as his daughter, and as you would expect, everywhere he went, as long as he was with Mayberry, he called her his daughter. I still find it weird that Ms. Wynn still can't remember having anything to do with Mr. Williams.
I mean, it seems like you're picking her up, you're taking her to the birthday parties with the other kids, and how did you lose touch?
I lost touch with them because they moved. And then the last I heard Quenisha, she was staying in Louisiana.
That right there just puts Ms. Wynn in a pretty tight spot. Mr. Williams says that when he found Mayberg on Facebook, he told her to ask any of her family members if he could be her potential dad, and they told her that there's a possibility that he could. If Ms. Wynn says she doesn't remember sleeping with him, why would the family member say that?
That other man. How did you know that?
Because we look nothing alike. Like, there's no connection there.
So, Mr. Williams, can you tell the court?
Seems like that's the very question that's brought everyone to the courtroom today. Ms. Wynn keeps saying that Mr. Williams is not her father. If that's the case, who then is her father? You know what? I think we should get to the results. Since she doesn't know, I'm pretty sure the DNA results are going to have a good answer.
Mr. Williams, you are not the father. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry I could not give you the closure you needed. Ms. Wynn, can you remember, identify, think about any other person you may have been dating at that time?
Ms. Lester has opened her case today against Mr. Lewis because he is denying fathering her only because she refuses to have sex with him. She wants him to step up and be a father once the results show that he fathered her son. Mr. Lewis says that Ms. Lester was sleeping with several men, and there's no way he can be the father. This case starts like this.
It's against Mr. Lewis because you say he denies fathering your 21-month-old son, Raiden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Only because you won't have sex with him.
Wow! Ms. Lester tells the judge that they plan to have a baby, and because of that, they never used protection anytime they kicked it in bed. If they talked about having a baby numerous times, why then is Mr. Lewis denying the baby? How did it all go wrong?
Because if you decided to have unprotected sex with me as well, whether or not you knew the history of whether or not I was sleeping with multiple men.
Okay, but listen.
Let's hope that message sticks in his head and he learns to be respectful with his words. Judge Lauren asked him why he believes he is not the father of the he-child, and he says that Ms. Lester is known by everyone to be someone who likes to sleep around with several men.
Seen her at a grocery store one day. She was with another man then, so I didn't say nothing. When I seen her on Facebook, I inboxed her.
Seems like they both remember things from different perspectives. Mr. Lewis tells the judge that he slept with her the first night they met, while Ms. Lester tells the judge that it took a while before they started having sex, and the only reason she agreed was because they planned to have a baby.
And what do you say, Mr. Lewis, when she says, I'm pregnant? Take me to that day.
I called her. She tells me she's pregnant. I asked her, who's the father? She tells me, I am.
If there's anything we can agree on, it's the fact that these two can't seem to agree on anything. Ms. Lester says that she told Mr. Lewis the day she was going to have the baby, but didn't tell him the day she actually had her son. Mr. Lewis denies it and says that she never mentioned to him the day she was going to have her child.
At the hospital?
At the hospital, he cut the umbilical cord and he signed the birth certificate. So how am I the father?
He sure.
She definitely has a lot of explaining to do. Mr. Lewis says that another man cut the umbilical cord for the baby and has his name signed as the father on the birth certificate of the child. What's funny is that Ms. Lester doesn't even deny it at all. There are so many loopholes with their story.
If I've told you once, I even enlightened him on the days that I was scheduled to go see the doctor during my pregnancy. He didn't want to forsake that, so no, I'm not going to follow you. If another man wants to step up,
I mean, that's a very valid question. Well, Ms. Lester says that she allowed another man so sign the birth certificate because Mr. Lewis did not want to step up and take responsibility. She even says that she had sex with the other man 2 weeks before she slept with Mr. Lewis and found out she was pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Stop lying, man. Quit front.
When I got in the picture, Raiden was already, I'd say, 3 to 4 months.
Right.
Well, it's good to know that she is in good hands. Ms. Lester's fiancé steps up to the podium, and he says that he believes Mr. Lewis is the father of the child. What's funny is that he and Ms. Lester have been in a relationship for about 10 years, and they have never slept with each other.
And, like,
he's delusional. He's jealous of the fact that I'm with him. Normally, I would have him in this loop where I'm having sex with him and him, and they both know it.
And there we go again with the yelling. Phew. We've definitely seen enough people. The results have made their way to the judge's table. It's time to see who the real father of the child is. Here is the judge's verdict.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Ms. Smith is in court today because she claims that a miscalculation during her pregnancy has left her unsure about the paternity of her son. She hopes to determine today if her ex-boyfriend or the defendant, Mr. Brooker, is the father of the child. Mr. Brooks looking furious as hell, saying that his fiancée, Ms. Smith, has always made him doubtful, and he wants to find the trust today. This is how the case begins.
Ms. Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamondre.
Looks like we're in for a ride. Mr. Brooker says that his detective work has left him with questionable evidence and he wants to get to the bottom of the case. He even says that he has always been doubtful about the child and he feels like Ms. Smith has not been totally honest with him.
So, and then once that happened, I was like really starting to like him and be interested. And a couple of weeks later, or next month in September,
That's a new one. Well, Mr. Brooker and Ms. Smith both agree that they met at a party. Ms. Smith said that she started to mess with him after she ended things with her boyfriend. A couple of months after they started having sex, she found out she was pregnant, and it seemed like Mr. Brooker was initially happy about the baby.
Or who it was, and we was the only, me and her ex were the only two dudes that she was with during the time.
Okay, so she was open with you about that?
Basically, she was open and she was honest and straightforward.
That's actually beautiful. Mr. Brooker has built an amazing bond with the child. Even though he had doubts about the child, he still took care of the child like his own. What's crazy is that Ms. Smith was actually very open with him that there could be two possibilities.
X, which was July 17th.
All right.
Okay, in September, these are the dates I actually went to the doctor, and they gave me a due date of April 9th. And they said I was 8 or 9 weeks pregnant.
Right, which lines up with the first two pieces of evidence you submitted here.
Correct.
So first two appointments.
Oh! Now it makes sense. Apparently, Ms. Smith went to more than one doctor, and the first one gave her a due date that showed Mr. Brooker as the possible father. When she went to the second doctor, he then gave her a due date that showed that her ex could be the possible father of her child. That just puts her in a very tight spot for real.
It can be very inaccurate. At the third visit, she has an ultrasound which clearly dates her at 7 weeks pregnant. So the doctor revises the due date to the date in May, the 13th.
For her sake, let's hope that's true. Judge Lauren brings in an expert to help her understand how she can have two different due dates. The expert explains the condition, and everything she says leads to Mr. Brooker being the father of her child. She says she didn't sleep with anyone else, so let's hope that's true.
Dr. Gator, so that was a lot. And so because of this, Mr. Brooker, you had doubts.
I had doubts, I did, but at the same time, like I told her, through the time we were together.
That's fair. Mr. Brooker says that they already spoke about the whole situation, and he told Ms. Smith that he would be there for the child regardless of who the father was. He also said he did not sign the birth certificate because he wanted to have a DNA test done before agreeing to put his signature on anything.
Due date shifting and everything going on. What were you telling your ex? Because he thought he was the father, at least a strong potential, right?
Right.
So what were you telling him?
Well, I'll let him know up front that,
I'm not even going to lie. That would have been scary if they all went to the same doctor's appointments. Well, Ms. Smith says that her ex told her that he would want to be part of the child's life if it happens that he is the father. Oh well, we've had just about enough. Let's get down to the DNA test, shall we?
Mr. Brooker, you are not his father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news.
It's okay. I'm still gonna be there.
Ms. Smith, what are you feeling right now?
That was not what I was hoping.
It's all right, man.
When she first met him, he seemed like a dream, a charming, attentive man who swept her off her feet. Ms. Lima confessed her mistake openly. She had fallen for Mr. Anderson's charm, believing he was a single man looking for love. But for Ms. Lima, what began as a sweet escape turned into a nightmare.
Ms. Lima, you admit to making a huge mistake and hope it doesn't affect your baby Christina. You had an affair with Mr. Anderson, who is married, and believe he's your daughter's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Honor.
The courtroom had hardly settled when the secrets began to slip out, and it became clear that Mr. Anderson's life was built on a dangerous web of lies. Their relationship blossomed from innocent Facebook messages into weekend rendezvous that spanned over 2 years, but nothing could have prepared her for the truth.
You know, we was planning a trip to go on a trip, so I couldn't make the trip, so I got on Facebook and I told him, you know, I'm sorry, babe, I couldn't make the trip. And a few minutes later, his Miss Anderson, you know, she inboxed me and say, like, who are you? So I'm like, well, you know, I said, I'm his girlfriend of a year, so who are you? She was like, well.
Mr. Anderson stood beside his wife, his shoulders hunched under the weight of his own guilt. He maintained at first that their affair was nothing more than a one-night stand, a momentary lapse in judgment during a rough patch in his marriage. He insisted that he had never seen Ms. Lima again after that night, but as the judge pressed on, his story began to shift.
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
I believe you are sorry.
Your Honor, it was a big mistake. And, you know, I really want my marriage and I want my marriage to work. But
and
it started.
I see your wife next to you and I feel her pain.
You know, me and my wife, we had a bad, you know, argument and...
Piece by piece, the truth emerged. Not only had he continued the affair, but he had also brought Ms. Lima into his own home, his marital sanctuary, while his wife and children were away. Ms. Lima detailed how she had even described the family's furniture to Mrs. Anderson when the truth finally came out. If betrayal had a sound, it was the sharp intake of breath from every person witnessing this tragic show.
One night. It was a one-night stand.
You never saw her again?
Never saw her again.
Ms. Lima?
That's wrong, Your Honor. That's wrong.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Was it strange to you that you only saw him on Saturdays and Sundays, or you thought he was working during the week?
Not really, because I went to his house numerous of times, but...
Wait.
And Mrs. Anderson? She sat through it all, her face a mask of pain and disbelief. She had heard lies before, but now she was being hit by the full force of reality. Her husband hadn't just cheated. He had constructed an entirely separate existence. The man she built a life with and raised 5 children with was a stranger, and the truth was tearing through her world like a storm. How does one recover from this?
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Anderson, I'm going to remind you, you are in court, and you need to tell the truth. It's time for you to lay it on the line. If you really love your wife and your marriage the way you say you do and your family.
But the betrayal didn't end there. When Ms. Lima discovered she was pregnant, she reached out to Mr. Anderson. His response? Silence. She sought out his family, only to be turned away. Desperation led her to the only other man she had been with during the same time frame. Yes, there was another, and she admitted to not using protection with either man. Everyone seemed to be playing with fire, and now the flames were everywhere.
And when you find out you're pregnant, who do you tell?
I went to Mr. Anderson at first. I went to his family at first. I couldn't contact him, so I went to his family, and I got rejected by them. So I was like, well, you know, that really hurted me. So I was just like, well, let me move to...
Let me save you the suspense. Mr. Anderson did meet up with her. His earlier bravado had melted away, replaced by a pitiful demeanor. He had denied meeting Ms. Lima again while she was pregnant, and had told his wife so, but he crumbled under Judge Lauren's probing questions. Mrs. Anderson, who had remained mostly silent throughout the hearing, finally spoke.
Has the testimony you heard today been different from the understanding you've had?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain.
Once we messaged each other, I asked her for her phone number because I want to talk on the phone. You understand? And when she was telling me the things that she was telling me, my whole world it caved in. Like, are you serious? You know, this is my husband.
Because you all have built a lot together.
The judge now called the other man. He believed he might be the father. However, she told him there was a possibility that the child could belong to another man, Mr. Anderson. Despite this uncertainty, he supported her during the pregnancy and believed the child resembled him. However, Ms. Lima countered this by saying the child looked exactly like one of Mr. Anderson's other children. Yes, Your Honor, passing by.
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her, like the way her eyes is.
You know what his kids look like?
Yes.
She been around my children. Are you serious?
Wait a minute. When?
Are you serious?
I'm on like sometimes, you know, he'll come meet me with the kids with them.
There is just no end to Mr. Anderson's lies. There's no doubt he fed Mrs. Anderson several versions of these lies. There's only one thing to do at this point. Let's get to the moment of truth.
Mr. Scott, you are not her father. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.
Ms. Sutton's story was simple yet devastating. She believed she was in an exclusive relationship with Mr. Smith. He lived with her, shared her bed, and returned home every night. Their relationship felt as real as the life they were building together. But it all came crashing down the day she announced her pregnancy.
Ms. Sutton, you say you believed you were in an exclusive relationship with Mr. Smith until you got pregnant and discovered he was living a double life. You say the defendant has denied your daughter, Kaylee, and you are in court to prove he is your child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith stood across the aisle, ready to deny everything. Beside him stood his mother, Ms. Colley. They had come armed with accusations, claims that Ms. Sutton was nothing more than a liar with a wandering eye.
You and your mother say Ms. Sutton is a pathological liar whose list of sexual partners extends well beyond just you. You admit to having 2 sexual encounters with the plaintiff, but say your relationship was anything but exclusive.
Ms. Sutton insisted that Mr. Smith had mastered the art of deception. When she shared the ultrasound on social media, it wasn't congratulations that flooded her inbox. It was a message from another woman. A woman claimed she was also in a relationship with Mr. Smith.
What do you mean he had a double life?
Him and his other baby mama were together when he was supposed to be with me. Like, he was staying with me, living with me. I used to see him every day. He used to come home every night. And then all of a sudden, when I get pregnant, it's an issue. When I post my picture of my ultrasound when I got pregnant with my daughter on Facebook, I tagged him in it, and that's when she messaged me and she told me who she was.
Mr. Smith, when given his turn, didn't focus on the double life. Instead, he launched into an attack on Ms. Sutton's character. He claimed she had a lengthy list of sexual partners, suggesting Kaylee, her daughter, could belong to anyone. His story was clear. He was nothing more than a casualty of Ms. Sutton's alleged promiscuity.
So is that true, Mr. Smith?
No, ma'am. That is not true.
What is your side of the story?
Well, when I first met Miss Sutton, first I met her through my cousin. You know, we chilled, we kicked it off. First time we had a sexual encounter, we met at my auntie house. We stayed, spent the night with each other, had our first sexual encounter.
Ms. Sutton vividly portrayed Mr. Smith's denial. She pointed out that the baby's facial features are strikingly similar to those of Mr. Smith. But Mr. Smith vehemently disagreed. He told the judge how Ms. Sutton had been posting the baby's pictures online, claiming he was the dad.
Are you Ms. Sutton?
No. You've been denying my baby from day one. From day one. When she looked just like you. Ain't nobody in my family got no big forehead like that. That baby look just like you. Even your partners on the street on Fabric say that she look just like you.
Yeah, I know they will, because every time they look around, you posting the picture. Every time they look around, you posting the picture.
And the truth was damning. She had offered him a free DNA test through child support, but he had never shown up. Not once, but twice. Now, this is unusual. Avoidance is often the bedfellow of guilt. If he was so sure the child wasn't his, why wouldn't he take the test and clear his name?
She tried to give me a free DNA test. Okay, if you try to give me a free DNA test.
Child support, he did not show up twice for a DNA test. So what that's saying about you? Because if I was a man, if I know a baby wasn't mine, I'll be the first one up there to take a DNA test.
But it got worse. As the judge pressed deeper, Ms. Colley hurled accusations of her own. She claimed Ms. Sutton had not only been involved with Mr. Smith, but also with other members of their family. She recounted a moment when she allegedly found Ms. Sutton in bed with another family member. The accusation was like gasoline to the already blazing fire.
Your Honor, Miss Sutton is not telling you that she done slept with my family members' husbands and baby daddy. And I caught her with one of them. We have tried hard, very hard, to get along with this girl. She has slept with one of my family members, both of her baby daddies.
These two women are ready to go at each other. Ms. Sutton didn't exactly deny the accusations. She gave reasons for her behavior. Ms. Colley accused her of buying any man she wanted, and the two women went off again. This can't be just about paternity.
Ms. Sutton, I want to give you a chance to respond. She's making some serious accusations. Are you sleeping with multiple people in her family?
Me and the person that she say I was sleeping with, I did not start sleeping with since after that my daughter was born. He was my boyfriend at the time. So anybody I'm dealing with is going to make sure me and my kids are straight.
As tensions peaked, the courtroom became a battleground of finger-pointing. Secrets can only stay buried for so long. Mr. Smith was in a 7-year relationship when he got intimate with Ms. Sutton. If the baby turned out to be his baby mama had sworn to leave him, so you can imagine his anxiety when the envelope was finally handed to the judge.
Mr. Smith, you are the father.
Oh, thank you. After 3 years. 3 years. 3 years.
All right, Ms. Sutton.
I'm going to see my baby.
3 years.
Okay.
When Ms. Touré walked into court, it wasn't just to seek justice. It was to unmask a secret life. For over 2 decades, she had insisted that Mr. Lacey was the father of her son, Trevon. She had been unwavering, chasing him through the troubles of child support and legal filings.
Ms. Ture, you are in court to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that he is the biological father of your adult son, Trayvon Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an absentee father, full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lacey, however, had always maintained his doubts. He argued that he could not have signed Trevon's birth certificate because he was incarcerated when the boy was born. But when the neatly typed document bearing his name was presented to the court, the room fell silent. But this was only the beginning.
And so, you believe that you are not Trayvon's biological father?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your
You
Honor.
believe that from the beginning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I could not
Your
have
Honor, I
signed
got
it.
proof today that he did sign the birth certificate, and his name is on my son's
I'd like
birth
to see that proof. Jerome?
The deeper Judge Lauren dug, the murkier the waters became. Mr. Lacey revealed that he first learned of Trevon's supposed paternity through a summons to a child support hearing. According to him, the judge back then had practically declared him the father at first glance. No DNA test, no questions asked. His story, however, did not align with the records.
So, Lacey, when did you find out that she claimed you were Trayvon's biological father?
I say Trayvon probably was about between 3 and 6 months years old. I received a court paper to go to the state of Ohio child support court, and me and Miss Torre, we did both appear at the child support court. When I walked into the court,
Ms. Toure insisted that Mr. Lacey had been offered a chance to take a DNA test but declined, choosing instead to accept the financial obligations of fatherhood. The truth, it seemed, was wrapped in a blanket of contradictory claims, and the court needed more than just words to clear it.
Not true, Your Honor. They gave him an opportunity for a DNA.
No,
if
they
he
did
had
not, Your
any
Honor.
doubt that my son was not
No, they
his
did
child,
not, Your Honor. I
Hamilton
would've took the
County gave
DNA.
him a window of an opportunity to say yes or nay, I want a DNA. He said, no, it's my son.
But the real twist came when Mr. Lacey began to speak of another man. He alleged that he had left town for a week during their brief relationship to handle family business. When he returned, he found another man wearing his pajamas, lounging in his home as if he belonged there. The implication was clear: infidelity. Yet, as the story continued, it became apparent that Mr. Lacey's week away wasn't so innocent.
So, Mr. Lacey, tell me what happened with this guy.
okay, Your Honor, I had to go out of town and take care of some family business for a week. When I came back into town, I knock on the door, and the door opened. Well, I see my pajamas. My pajamas. Miss
That is
Torre
not true.
has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
While Ms. Toure did not deny meeting someone else, her account was very different. Despite being intimate with the other man, Ms. Toure maintained that Mr. Lacey's 1 week away wasn't to handle family business. It was to be with another woman in the same neighborhood. She told the court that he was the only man she was with at the window of conception. For her, Mr. Lacey is the father of Trevon, without a doubt.
Do you remember this incident with the pajamas, Mr. Ray?
He is straight lying, I'm telling you, Your Honor. When he came and knocked on my door, I answered the door, and my new friend came to the door with me. He had on his own clothes, first of all. He had on a pair of pants, he didn't have on a
He had
shirt.
pajama pants.
He didn't have on a
pajamas.
shirt.
Apart from the bickering ex-lovers, Judge Lauren wanted to know what Trevon, the alleged son of Mr. Lacey, felt about the whole situation. The young man has been quiet as his mother and potential father recount and deny past experiences.
Listening to this testimony, and I know some of it's probably difficult, son. Do you have something you'd like to say to the court?
Yes, I want to start off by saying my mom, she was, an excellent mother. She raised 3 boys by herself, all at different ages. So I want to give her, kudos for that.
Mr. Lacey had managed to reduce his child support debt from $37,000 to $5,000, even though he claimed that Trevon wasn't his child. But now, his potential son wanted him to know how much his life would have changed, how much different his life would have been if he had his father by his side.
Mr. Lacey, about specifically how this affected you growing up, not having him in your life.
Larry, I believe, growing up with my mom, it was a lot of things that I wish you could have been there with, as far as her having to be my father as well as my mother. I feel like if you were there, it was a lot of, heartache and headaches that I could have avoided. As far as my children.
Yes, the results. The only thing left to set the record straight was the DNA test, a cold, scientific truth that could cut through the years of lies. When Jerome handed Judge Lauren the results, the anticipation rose to the fullest. Judge Lauren read them with practiced composure.
Mr. Lacey, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you. Now stand up. Give my son his respect. Give him his father. Give him his father. Hug your daddy.
How does it feel, Trevon?
It's exhilarating. I want to thank you for bringing out these results, and hopefully that we can move forward with our lives.
I have nothing to say.
When Ms. Dallas first met Mr. Stewart, she thought she had stumbled upon a fairy tale romance. Their connection was immediate, and before long, casual dates turned into nights together. But what seemed like the beginning of a love story was nothing more than the opening act of a twisted drama.
Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad, especially since you discovered he's the one leading a double life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For months, their relationship hummed along smoothly until Ms. Dallas started to notice cracks in the facade. Mr. Stewart never took her to his home, always insisting on hotel rooms. When pressed, he gave vague excuses.
So, Ms. Dallas, take us to your relationship before you found out about Mr. Stewart's alleged double life.
I met Cedric with Mr. Stewart in June of 2016. I was out having breakfast with my friend, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning, and he walked up to me or whatever, offered to pay for.
When she finally asked the question outright, Mr. Stewart hesitated before admitting he was married. But of course, he had a story ready. Ms. Dallas, already emotionally invested and perhaps blinded by his promises of a future together, chose to believe him. After all, why would a man who spent every evening with her, only returning home to change clothes, still be attached to his marriage?
Tell me like, oh, they are separated, they're going through a divorce.
So, Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Did you meet Ms. Dallas, date her casually, have sex with her, and finally, only later tell her that you were married?
It didn't quite go like that.
How did it go?
It didn't come up. I felt like it didn't come up.
You could see the look of disbelief on Ms. Dallas' face. As it turned out, Mr. Stewart wasn't just keeping his wife in the dark. He was crafting a double life. His routine was meticulously orchestrated. Work, Ms. Dallas, home to his wife, on repeat, the perfect juggling act. But every act eventually fails.
How often did you see one another? If you're married with your wife living at home?
Oh, that's it. Every day. Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah, every day he would come over there when he get off work. Only time he probably went to his house and when he went to go change his clothes or put on his work clothes.
Mr. Stewart, during this time, were you still intimate with your wife?
No, not at the time. We were, I don't know how to put it, but it's like...
When Miss Dallas found out she was pregnant, Mr. Stewart's reaction was baffling. He was thrilled, promising her a home, a life together, and a family. The whispers started soon after. A so-called friend of Ms. Dallas approached Mr. Stewart with a tale of infidelity. The same friend, however, then sent Mr. Stewart naked photos of herself. The credibility of this friend should have been questionable, but Mr. Stewart, already caught in his own web of deception, latched onto it as a convenient excuse to cast doubt on the paternity of baby Lamar.
It's gonna be okay after that. And then when I found out I was pregnant, Cedric was happy or whatever. So-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived Lamar.
Someone that knew you?
Yeah.
They start giving you information?
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, telling him that I was...
And then there was the baby. Mr. Stewart took one look at his newborn son and saw only evidence to support his suspicions. Ms. Dallas countered with the obvious, but Mr. Stewart had already convinced himself of an alternate truth, one that absolved him of responsibility.
Well, the other doubt was, when he got here, he don't look like me. Look at his hair, he look mixed.
He don't look mixed. All babies come out with fine hair, and I'm pretty sure
So at what point do you have to come clean with your wife about this baby?
But the real bombshell came when Mr. Stewart's wife, perhaps finally catching wind of her husband's infidelity, fired back. The picture wasn't just a petty move. It was a calculated strike, a reminder that while Ms. Dallas dreamed of a future, Mr. Stewart was still very much entangled in his present. Such a bold woman. Judge Lauren wanted to speak with her.
This testimony is troubling.
Yes.
Very troubling. And it was not true.
What part of the testimony do you disagree?
How they met. Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
exactly
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but relations.
Relations.
Exactly.
Ooh, we like receipts, Precious. But it turned out that Mrs. Stewart's receipts were just unreplied messages from people interested in Ms. Dallas. However, the whole thing soon turned into a verbal battle between the wife and the Ms. Dallas.
Yeah, we live together. Well,
You
we
live
don't live
together?
We kind of, you know.
Well, what's that?
You know what I mean?
We live together, but
we
you go
moved
back and
in
forth.
together, but we go back and forth. Like she done moved out and came
2
back.
days.
You know what I mean? And
Are you all divorced or still married?
legally, we're still married.
We're still married.
Ms. Stewart, what do you want? Do you want this marriage to work? Are you...
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself.
For Mr. Stewart, there was no escaping the consequences. His double life had caught up to him. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. The judge opened the envelope containing the DNA test results.
Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you. I ain't got no reason to lie at all.
So listen, Ms. Dallas, I see you are in tears because
I go through so much with him and his wife. You don't understand. I go through so much.
When Cortez Bell first walked into that courtroom, no one could have guessed the tangled web of lies about to unravel. On the other side stood Destiny Cousin and her mother, Sharonica, both visibly worn down, not just by the responsibilities of raising 7-month-old Taquan, but by the weight of betrayal. They weren't there to seek revenge or money. They were there for the truth. And the truth, as it turned out, was far messier than anyone could have imagined.
Miss Cousin, you and your mother say you had no choice but to drag the defendant, Mr. Bell, into court today because you're fed up with his lies.
Yes,
he denies being the father of your 7-month-old son, Taquan, and has even gone to the extreme by blocking all contact with you. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Destiny wasn't Cortez's girlfriend, at least not officially. She was the other woman, and she only realized it now. When they met at work, he perfectly played the role of a single man. Late lunches, shared secrets, and stolen weekends away.
And you're basically saying that Mr. Bell was a two-timer. He had your daughter thinking he was in a relationship with her, but he was really in a relationship with somebody else?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that true, Mr. Bell?
No, we went out once.
Sharonica wasn't letting him off the hook easily. She had raised Destiny with hope and discipline, ensuring she graduated with a high school diploma and landed a job. But Cortez's influence had steered her daughter down a different path, one lined with false promises and cruel realizations. While Cortez claimed their physical relationship was a one-off encounter, Destiny's account painted a different picture.
Because he lied. He know he lied. Why would you lie on me for no reason?
Because he felt your weakness. That's what he felt. He felt that he could take control of you because he knew that you was the one that was not going to say nothing and was going to be silent. But as of today, God is my witness. I'm speaking.
Cortez maintained his stance. He was adamant that Taquan wasn't his child, and that Destiny was using the baby as a pawn to disrupt his main relationship. His words danced around the truth, skillfully avoiding accountability while maintaining a veil of innocence.
Are you denying the baby is yours?
Yes.
Because you have the girlfriend of 6 years, or because you truly believe this isn't your biological
it's not
child?
mine.
Why? Why do you doubt?
For one, when she got pregnant, I found out she was pregnant through a manager at the job. He called me in the office and told me she was pregnant. And I told him the same thing I'm telling her. It's not mine.
Why you lying? Destiny?
Cortez had another life, a long-term girlfriend of 6 years, a seemingly stable relationship, a home he returned to after those supposed one-time encounters with Destiny. He was the master of compartmentalization, slipping between roles with ease.
That your boyfriend was having a relationship with somebody else.
I was pregnant with our second daughter. And I guess you could say a mutual friend happened to recognize Cortez on her page, like for his pictures and stuff like that. And he asked if Cortez and I were still together. And I was just like, of course. So he gave me her name or whatever. I searched for her on Instagram. Of course I'm gonna search.
Cortez had tried to prevent any slip-ups, but those slip-ups happened. The evidence suggested more than a fleeting mistake. It suggested intent, manipulation, and worst of all, a sustained deception that stretched over months. Destiny laid it all bare for the court.
Miss Cousin, I want you to tell the court the nature of your relationship.
We slept together 3 times, unprotected, and he know that.
Where'd you all go?
We'll go anywhere.
Where we went? Where did we go?
In the car, it don't matter.
Where did we go?
And we went
Since
to the
was on
club
a
with
date?
your cousin now. You know that.
So what you're saying is you all would go out or have sex, but he'd always leave.
Yes.
The double life he had so meticulously organized was now at the edge of being exposed to the harsh lights of reality. His girlfriend of 6 years, the image of stability he had clung to, crumbled alongside his denials. His denials, because he kept denying everything.
Yes, Your Honor.
You said he came to see the baby 1 time.
Yes,
but when he came to see the baby, he wanted to have sex.
Yes, he asked me. He said, would you have sex with me? I was like, no. He said, man, what, you scared of your boyfriend? I said, I ain't scared of my boyfriend. My boyfriend ain't got nothing to do with it. And when he came, he had a flat tire. He asked to use my sister four-wayer to take the tire off.
Mr. Cortez had fabricated such a lie that his girlfriend stood solidly behind him. She doubted the testimonies of Destiny and Sharonica. It is easier to disbelieve, and she stood solidly behind her boyfriend. Will the result prove her right?
So, Miss King, you're very quiet. Has Mr. Bell ever said he came over to see Taquan?
No.
Never told you that?
No. She told me that he came over there. That's when she messaged me on Facebook. And when I asked him, he told me no. And then when I hear that something about a truck, he doesn't have a truck, so.
If Cortez was a performer, Judge Lauren was the critic who wouldn't be fooled. She had seen men like him before, men who thought they could bluff their way out of consequences. She allowed him to speak, to twist and turn his story until it no longer resembled reality. Then she brought it all crashing down.
Mr. Bell, you are the father.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You're silent now.
I'll take my child support paper.
The McMahon and Wilridge sisters stood side by side. They had been here before, learning previously that their late father had led a double life. But today, they were back, bracing for yet another twist in their father's tangled web of secrets.
Ms. McMahon and Ms. Wildridge, in your previous appearance in our courtroom, you learned your deceased dad had kept a secret from you your entire lives.
Yes, Your Honor.
It turns out that he had cheated on your mother, and you discovered that a good friend of yours was actually your biological sister.
Seated beside them was Ms. Swan, a woman who, until recently, had been nothing more than a whisper in family gossip. She sat with a quiet, unsettling calm, as if she were here for afternoon tea, and not to reveal that her son, Mr. Williams, might also be the offspring of the same man.
Miss Swan, you're the woman who claims to have had an affair with their father. You admit that you kept it a secret because he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You believe your son was a result of that relationship and he is indeed their brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
The story began in 1999, following a photo of a young boy. But whispers turned into echoes in 2001 when a young man showed up at their mother's door, claiming to be the son of their father. They knew their father had strayed, but nothing prepared them for the sheer scale of his deception.
In your mind, your parents were a happily married couple. That's what you knew.
Well, ma'am, Your Honor, we were young. We knew that there were problems, but we were too young to understand the full spectrum of what had been going on. We have heard that he could have been sleeping with another woman, but we didn't know about Miss Swan.
Ms. Swan's affair with their father wasn't a fleeting mistake, but a calculated betrayal. She had known he was married, yet that had not deterred her. Her affair lasted more than a year, but her story had lots of inconsistencies. The timelines fluctuated with every retelling.
A married man told you he was married. Okay, I didn't keep on after the man. But as a woman,
you could say no.
He was married.
And
you
I
could have turned away.
You could even told my mom.
If you were decent, you would have
So, Miss Swan, how many years did this affair last?
Year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Ma'am, I don't know.
She knew he was married. She knew he had a family. But in her mind, that part simply doesn't matter. Ms. Swan had named her son Ellis, after the sister's father, branding the boy with a name steeped in betrayal. But the darkest twist was yet to come.
The last time I saw their father, he left my house and he got towards the driveway.
and he got out of his car and told me he'll see me in heaven, and that was the end of it. That's the last time I seen him.
He'd see you in heaven.
Well, I don't think y'all gonna be in heaven. I don't think. And you said you're not remorseful?
Ms. Swan's claim about the sisters' father wasn't well received. Ms. McMahon countered her. Their father had died at home, found by their mother, who had been making breakfast. The difference was glaring, and the timeline didn't add up. Ms. Swan's story felt shaky, almost unbelievable.
In what proximity was the last time you saw him till when he passed away?
That night.
That night?
Because that night when he left my house, a friend of mine came by and told me he was dead.
Well, he didn't die at night.
My dad was found deceased at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, well.
My mom was getting up to fix him breakfast.
The sisters were stunned. Beneath the surface, their father had constructed an entire alternate life. He had moved through the world as two men. The loving father who sat at the head of their dinner table and the deceitful lover who slipped away into the night. Despite it all, Ms. Swan swore she was not with any other person except their father.
I have to ask you, and this is respectfully, but were you intimate with anyone else during the time you were intimate with their father, where there could potentially be another biological father of your son?
Not that no, ma'am.
Well, Your Honor, she's saying no, but if she's sleeping with a married man, she didn't think enough to be respectful of herself and sleep with a married man.
Ms. Swan's son, Mr. Williams, entered the courtroom. He had been living with the possibility that the man he never knew might be his father, that the sisters sitting across from him might share his blood. For him, this wasn't just about truth. It was about identity.
Had you ever had an opportunity to meet this man?
I remember certain things of him, but I don't remember too much. I remember the van that he had, and I remember riding in this van and some noises they used to make with the little horns and everything. But
my dad fixed on cars, and he used to modify all his vehicles. That was one of his things. He used to build things very handy.
This is clearly very emotional for the sisters. Finally, the DNA results arrived. Judge Lauren held the envelope, the thin slip of paper inside wielding the power to either bind these strangers together or confirm a lifetime of deception. Who knew how many more secrets lay hidden in the shadows, waiting for their moment in the light?
That you are half-siblings.
You knew it. Now he boy.
The only boy.
The only boy
that we know of.
So how does it feel today, Mr. Williams?
it's a lot lifted off of me.